Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 217 of At Odds with Wrestling, and, canonically, episode 217 of We Need Wrestling.
That can't possibly be true.
It absolutely...
Yeah, wow, we have that many?
Yes. So if you go, DJ and Brett are here as well, and Adam, for the first time ever on a Thanksgiving, is here.
Yep, I am, again, Cal Ripken, a podcast, and I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Just a follow-up the last time that you made a Cal Ripken mention about consecutively hit podcast things. Apparently that whole Kevin Costner thing with Cal Ripken was a rumor. But I still say it's true enough to be true, you know?
Yep. And if I may, in honor of Brett and DJ, I just wanted to start the podcast off with this. It's a drinking show, boys.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm not. Listen, something may have happened on the show a few months ago that I'm not going to say scared me off of drinking, but unrelated. I haven't had a drink since.
Oh.
You know?
Well, I only have a six-pack here, but like if I need it, I can go back to the fridge and get more. But
Gotcha.
we'll see what happens.
But yes, so if DJ and Brett, if you go and look at the RSS feed, the only way that you should get a podcast, and look at the total episode numbers of Wednesday Night War and this show together, this is episode 217. Even though you guys started a week after us, I think we missed a week in there somewhere.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were doing a lot of, like, we used to do episodes for every pay-per-view and all that sort of stuff, too. So.
Yeah. Well, again, I was just going by episode,
Okay.
In number order, man.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Accept it. You guys have been at this just as long as we have, if not longer.
That's true. So really quick, Joe, can I curse on here?
Ah, you son of a bitch.
I was waiting for it.
Everyone else can except you.
Okay.
It's good to see the Dooge has the list that I sent him.
That's always in my notes every time because I know how much Joe likes it.
I was going to say, do I have the list here? It's been a while since I had to go over it on the other show. As I'm just scrolling through. Yeah, there's the full. Oh my God, I haven't done it on. It's almost been like 180 episodes since I brought it up on After Dark. You know.
Oh.
Man, some of those got to go. That's just too long of a list.
And that's here.
Crap,
1, 2, 3, 4,
They didn't even
5,
fit on the screen.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 items.
You got to get one more. I take it back.
Yeah, let's aim for a 30th by the end of this.
Yeah.
I begrudgingly am going to take Anchor FM off the list. Just because mutual friends have podcasts on Anchor FM, and when I shit talked their shows privately being on Anchor FM, information got stooged back to them, and I had to explain myself, which is them being outed for getting information stooged to them and stooging that they don't listen to my podcasts. So, you know.
But anyway, excited to be here. Glad to be invited and, have this opportunity to ruin your podcast.
Oh, see, don't say that either.
I know, because I saw it on the list.
God damn it. It's a great podcast listened to by hundreds, if not thousands of people, just like your show, right?
Absolutely.
Positive.
For sure.
Well, listen, I'm happy to have DJ and Brett here for this, for many reasons, but this being the number one reason.
And now, At Odds with Wrestling presents This Day in Wrestling History.
I get to talk about wrestling that happened before 1990.
Oh, what the hell? Fuck bullshit. No, you can't.
You're outvoted, 3 against 1.
Oh.
Yeah,
Brett,
Sorry, Adam. No,
not only are you
listen.
outvoted, but I watched these shows this week in preparation.
All of them?
A good chunk of them.
I watched a couple 2-3 matches from these shows as well. Not gonna lie.
This is the type of preparedness that these guys bring to the show. I love it.
Yeah, well. Do they bring bits? Do they bring bits? Because otherwise I'm irreplaceable.
Well, they could just very easily just get a cardboard cutout of a B+ female wrestler, put it in the background, and fine.
How dare you?
All right. This day in wrestling history, 1983 from the Greensboro Coliseum was the first ever Starrcade. Now you look at this card, and it's not a knock your socks off sort of card, but those top 3 matches, I say probably still hold up today. That being Roddy Piper versus Greg Valentine in a dog collar match. Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood against, I almost said Jay and Mark. Jack and Jerry Briscoe for the NWA World Tag Team titles. And Ric Flair versus Harley Race in a steel cage for the NWA World title.
Yeah, for sure. I watched this whole show. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
That Piper Valentine match, I forgot just how brutal that actually is.
I've seen pictures. Does that count?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. It's a dog collar match that I think we talked about it when they did the one in AEW a while ago, and I don't know that they've done one that has matched this one. I think everybody's still chasing Piper and Hammer.
Didn't they show Greg the Hammer half asleep in the crowd for this, or was that another? Oh no, that was the Brody Cody one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I forgot how good that one was. Too.
Yes,
that was AEW does
very good.
Their dog collar match is pretty good.
Yeah. Brody Cody close, Punk MJF close. But again, you're all chasing a match that's almost 40 years old, guys.
For sure.
I was -6 when this happened.
Oh.
I mean, I was -1. I was maybe becoming a thought in my parents' brain. Earlier on the show, though, there were a couple things I wanted to talk about, which maybe they're definitely not the marquee. And the first thing I want to talk about is Rufus R. Jones.
Rufus R. Freight Train Jones.
Yes. Is it safe to say that Dusty Rhodes stole whole cloth from Rufus R. Jones?
Yes, I think it's kind of sort of admitted as much.
Yeah.
This is kind of the end of Rufus Jones's career,
right?
And he had been a big territory star, I think, mostly in Florida. But I think is it this Starrcade or the next one where Dusty's not on the show, but this is the beginning of him as the booker for Jim Crockett.
Yeah, I mean that timing makes sense.
Yeah.
That was crazy. The Abdullah the Butcher versus Carlos Colon match is really violent.
Yes.
Super violent. Abby dropping the meat cleaver on the ref. It looks like he kills him. Really cool stuff. I had a lot of fun watching these back. And also, at one point on the show, Gary Hart stabbed somebody for real.
Cool.
So,
that rocks.
Is it Charlie Brown from Out of Town that he stabs, or is it a fan?
It's not. It's in the Mark Lewin, Kevin Sullivan, Scott McGhee, Johnny Weaver match.
Okay.
Gary Hart gets bumped into the corner and pulls something from his boot. I don't know. It's not clear what it is, but Mark Lewin grabs it, and everybody is bleeding. Scott McGhee looks like he's murdered. And
I would say, isn't it almost every match on this card somebody gets busted open?
Yeah, and in that tag match, Angelo Mosca comes down to break it up and gets stabbed. And in the main event, he's I don't know, whatever he is, an enforcer or whatever. He comes out afterwards, and his arm is all taped up because he got stabbed by Gary Hart. For real.
Gary Hart notoriously kept a straight razor in his boot. Yeah, so that's probably what that was.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Back when people used to respect this business.
That's right, God damn it. And just as I have in my notes that everyone can see, the original advertising for this show the Bob Orton, Dick Slater versus Mark Youngblood and Wahoo McDaniel. It was supposed to be Hulk Hogan and Wahoo McDaniel.
Oh.
Up until a week before the show, he was on all the advertisement. It was going to be Hogan's debut for Jim Crockett.
Wow.
Whoa, I did not know that.
Yeah. You can even find posters and stuff like local posters advertising the show that still has Hogan on it.
Yeah.
And this was, we're talking, this is November of 83. He returns to WWF like late December of 83. So you got to think that this was Vince making a power play to make sure Hogan doesn't show up here so that when he shows up on his TV, it's a bigger deal.
Imagine how like different things would have been if Hogan was on this.
Hell yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So enough about 83. Let's get a little bit closer for a time frame for Adam. It might have been before he was starting watching wrestling, but he had to have seen this. This was a Coliseum home video staple from the Richfield Coliseum in Richfield, Ohio. Survivor Series, This Day in Wrestling History in 1988.
I definitely rented this, so you're okay. I'll give this a pass.
This was still when it was teams of 5 strive to survive. This is when they had co-captains for each team, because I think Hogan and Macho Man had to be on the same team together.
Well, this is Mega Powers, yeah.
Right, Mega Powers. But this is the infamous Powers of Pain Demolition double turn.
Yep.
Where Mr. Fuji, who is managing the tag team champions at the time, decides to turn on them and take up with a much lesser team that just came into the territory 3 months earlier. And Fuji's reason for doing so in kayfabe was they weren't listening to me anymore.
Well, and this is the last match the Bulldogs have before the Rougeau incident.
No, okay, so the Rougeau incident has already happened.
Oh, right, because Dynamite's missing teeth in this match.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Dynamite looks like shit in this match.
Yeah.
He's got like a shitty mustache. He's like 60 pounds lighter. He looks like he's ready to do commentary for a low-rent MMA promotion out of Florida.
Yee.
But another thing is
now.
like there's some real fucked up teams on this, and I love looking at what the original advertisement was. Like in the opening match, it's like Warrior, Beefcake, Sam Houston, Blue Blazer, and Jim Brunzell. Jim Brunzell replacing Don Morocco, who had just been fired like literally a week before. And then the other babyface team, Duggan, Jake the Snake, Ken Patera, Tito Santana. It was originally supposed to be JYD. JYD got fired, gets replaced by B. Brian Blair, who quits, and then is replaced by Scott Casey, of all people.
The legend, Scott Casey.
Household name of Scott Casey.
Right. But this is definitely a fun show. This is the beginning of the build to the Mega Power. Like, this is the official beginning of the build to the Mega Powers exploding.
Yeah, it's not until, 3 months after or so? Is that how Donovan works?
Right. There's the
Something like
bit
that?
where they have
Yeah.
the post-match celebration, and Hogan goes to just steady Liz, right?
Right.
And Macho reacts. And but they don't focus on it. He's just there. You see Macho get a look on his face. And then they don't hit it for another then they have the bit in the Rumble in 89. And then they have the main event where Hogan takes Liz to the back after Randy gets thrown over the top rope and lands on him.
Yeah, not to defend Hulk Hogan, but who among us hasn't had to go and steady somebody from falling down? I think that's a noble gesture.
Of course you would side with the Hulkster.
In this one scenario, yes.
I sent a clip to Brett a few days ago, and the famous one, I think, of Macho on Arsenio Hall, where he's talks about being emotional and everything. This was a clip, and I don't know if it's from this era, but it's got to be close. It's Arsenio Hall show with Slick and Akeem.
Yeah, it's
And-
quite the segment.
It's wild because Akeem explains who he is in character. And
to Arsenio in front of Arsenio's fan base.
Yes, and Arsenio has questions. And Slick like cuts him off and just like completely confirms everything about Akeem. And then Akeem's like, "You heard what Slick said. You're not going to talk. You're not going to say he's a liar." And Arsenio just drops it.
That was back in the day where if you were like a talk show host, though, you'd get your ass beat on national TV if you questioned anything about kayfabe, you know?
And also, coincidentally, Rufus R. Jones, Slick's dad.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. How's that for kismet?
Right?
So just another. So Adam mentioned this. So 84, 85, if you were a talk show host, you'd get your ass beat. 88, 89, I think you were okay. I think Arsenio was a fan, and WWE would typically come on. They would send people on when they were promoting shows at the LA Coliseum. Like, there was WWE people on Arsenio like once a month at least.
Okay.
And like Arsenio would always play ball. I think there's like I don't remember the Akeem and Slick one. I'm gonna have to search that one down. But there was one where like Warrior was on like in like fucking roided out, coked out allegedly like form, and Arsenio's like Arsenio's bit is, I'm gonna try to have a legitimate interview with this madman. This is when Hogan went on and lied about never doing steroids.
Allegedly.
Wait, allegedly lied or allegedly never did steroids?
Allegedly lied.
I definitely lied. But yeah, like Arsenio was like I think they even did like a Bushwhackers Nasty Boys match like on Arsenio.
Whoa, I need to find that.
Yeah, I think there's a YouTube out there that has like, if not all, like most of the like a supercut of all the time WWF people were on Arsenio.
Nice.
All right, moving on. This day in wrestling history, 1993, from Boston Garden in Boston, Massachusetts, the World Wrestling Entertainment held Survivor Series, another show plagued by replacements. The opener, we have the 1-2-3 Kid, Marty Jannetty, Razor Ramon, and Mr. Perfect, who had just turned babyface a year prior at Survivor Series. No shows this and is replaced by Randy Savage, who was essentially like retired at this point.
Okay.
We also have in the main event the All-Americans against the Foreign Fanatics. Lex Luger, the Steiners, and Tatanka initially taking on the Quebecers, Ludwig Borga, and Yokozuna. Tatanka gets taken out by Ludwig Borga and replaced by The Undertaker and his fancy 1776 jacket. Pierre gets taken out by the Steiners and is replaced by Foreign National Evil Crush.
There's that time when Hawaii turned against the country. It's different.
That is true. But I would say the biggest replacement on this show was the Hart family of Brett, Owen, Bruce, and Keith, initially supposed to take on Jerry Lawler and his Knights. But I don't know. Jerry Lawler had something going on and he couldn't be there.
Planned vacation.
Could you tell me what happened with Jerry Lawler, your favorite wrestler?
It was a planned vacation. He had it in the books, just nobody noticed. That's all.
Thank God that stand-up guy, Shawn Michaels, came in and took the place at the last minute.
Oh yeah,
I believe DGA says that he's like selfless in selfish times.
Yeah, that's Shawn Michaels. That's who I'm talking about, for sure.
This might be the one time where he was.
Yeah,
because he was currently on suspension. Allegedly doing steroids. Maybe WWE was a little bit more strict when it came to pot. Maybe Shawn was being difficult.
What?
And they brought him back as still Intercontinental Champion. So that like built to the WrestleMania thing with him and Razor. They filmed the skit with Shawn and Rio Rogers going to the Hart family household with people in old people masks pretending to be Stu and Helen. This match sucks out loud. It's over 30 minutes long, but Bobby Heenan and Ray Combs of Family Feud on commentary are fantastic.
So I pose a question to the group. What kind of a name is Bruce?
You had 9 months to think of it, and that's all you got?
Dude, Bobby Heenan is just like a masterclass in professional wrestling on this. Just the burials, like we still quote it to this day. Just oh look, there's a picture of Helen on the back of Stu's jacket. Stu waxed another jacket from the merch stand.
Helen, I'm damp.
Hey Stu, wake up.
But this, like I said, I gotta think whatever the issue with the Hart family is, I gotta think that Bobby saying that about what kind of name is Bruce is a rib on my sweet Brucey. It's gotta be.
Dude, we just watched this match. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was reading a little thing about this match because I'm obsessed with this match just because of the commentary. And of course, the Bruce was loose that night, and Bruce was just in the back trying to plan spots to get his shine to the point where both Brett and Sean had to be like, Bruce, shut the fuck up. This is not about you.
We just watched this not that long ago, just for fun, because I don't want to say it's a good match. I know, Joe, you said it was terrible. I don't think it's that bad. I think Sean tries. I think Hitman and Owen really carry their own. Bruce tries to involve himself in everything. But it's a hilarious match. But also notably, and you're talking about the sub-ins here, according to Terry Funk, he was supposed to be one of the Knights.
That's right.
And he was also, according to Terry Funk, he was also offered Pat Patterson's job, being head booker of the WWF.
But there's no reason for me not to believe Terry Funk when he says
right. I believe everything Terry Funk has ever said. So one of the Knights, I don't know, maybe he would have been replacing allegedly Barry Horowitz. I don't know, or Hammer, because one of them is very clearly Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Right.
You can't hide that. But the match isn't great, but Heenan does such a good job that it is engaging throughout. It's insane.
So one of my favorite lines of the match of Ray Combs, he calls a knife edge chop a weenie slap. Just so fucking awkward.
And the Heavenly Bodies Rock and Roll Express match is really good, but the crowd does not give a shit for it. And in a weird bit of trivia, there was a Heavenly Bodies Rock and Roll Express match for the Smoky Mountain Tag Team titles on Super Brawl in February of '93. So, how crazy is that both companies were working with Smoky Mountain Wrestling at different points in 1993?
If I was booking my show, I'd also want Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey on it too, so I could get that.
All right, so this one will be a quick hitter. This day in wrestling history, 1996, from the Norfolk Scope in beautiful Norfolk, Virginia. World Championship Wrestling held World War III on pay-per-view. A ho-hum early NWO card where the World War III Battle Royal was won by the Giant. But I have up here a list of all the luminaries that were in the 60-man Battle Royal. I was going to say, everyone tag yourself. I was going to say, I'm Joe Gomez just because.
Dibs on Kevin Nash.
No.
I don't know who Jack Boot is, but I want to be him.
Jack Boot is a random gimmick for Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker, a.k.a.
Perfect.
Sarge. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, Jeff Jarrett's in there, Joe. Why don't you get him?
You got to go with someone goofy. You can't go with one of the stars.
I disagree.
I'll be one half of my most underrated tag team. I'll be Kenny Chaos.
Now, see, I was gonna say you were gonna pick Robbie Rage, but all right.
Ah, damn it.
But where the hell was he on the list? I was just looking at his stupid name there. Galaxy gets a pay-per-view payoff, which is ridiculous. And where the hell was his name? I know it was in here somewhere. Johnny Rumble? Where's Rumble? What the
Tony
hell?
Rumble.
Tony Rumble. Fucking the Boston bad boy Tony Rumble gets a WCW payday. He was a fucking Boston Indies manager. And what the hell did he deal cut to get a pay-per-view payday from this, Sadly, no El Dandy in here. But again, yeah, it is what it is.
The opener on that show, though, the Rey versus Ultimo for the J Crown is fantastic.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell
yeah.
me that 1996 Rey Mysterio had a good match and Ultimo Dragon had a good match and they were together and it was a really good match?
Absolutely. It's Rey in the Spider-Man gear. It's Ultimate, in the pink, the all pink gear. And Ultimo wins with a slingshot power bomb, which then, however many years later, I'm bad at math, the one FTR steals. So,
that Dean Malenko Psychosis match for the Cruiserweight title rocks too, by the way.
It's true.
So this era of World Championship Wrestling, you're saying that the undercard Cruiserweight TV title matches were really good and everything else kind of sucked in ring?
That's, I mean, I'm not saying it directly, but I'm saying it.
Do you mean
did the Giant drag Jeff Jarrett to a good match?
How dare
you?
Double J was always having good matches, except when he wasn't, which we'll get to in a year. But are you telling me that Chris Jericho, managed by Teddy Long, beaten in a match with Nick Patrick where Jericho has one hand tied behind his back, wasn't a good match?
It wasn't. I will tell you, though, when I was watching this, that friend of the show, Michelle, could not identify 1996 Chris Jericho.
Really?
Versus current. I'm like, look at the TV. And she's like, I don't know who that is. And I was like, yes, you do. So
he doesn't look that different, does he?
I don't know.
It's the tattoos that throw you off.
It's the chest definition.
Oh, my goodness. Poor Jericho. He tries. All right. Last but not least, 1997, this day in wrestling history, head-to-head, Monday Night Raw, Monday Nitro, over on Nitro from Saginaw, Michigan. It's the All Raven show, everybody. Who cares that it's the Giant versus Hollywood Hogan for the title on top? This is the official debut of them saying Ravens rules. This is the official debut of Riggs as a heel. After just a week prior, he was a babyface wearing an eye patch. Now he's a heel wearing an eye patch with Raven, and also the debut of Lodi. A huge turning point in the Monday Night War, all three of these moments.
I watched both of these shows.
Oh my goodness. Any thoughts, any feelings on the Nitro that I'm overlooking?
No, I don't think the thing about the Raven segment, there's a sign behind him that says Jesus is God, not Hulk Hogan.
Oh my goodness.
Which is an interesting thing. The Nitro has the debut, I don't know if they showed it multiple times, but this has the Zabisco, you don't want none of Eazy-E promo package, the little video. So it has Zabisco in the ring calling out Hall and all that, or Ed, or Bischoff or whatever. But yeah, I mean that's it. It also has like Macho Man versus Disco on it, and an ad for WCW NWO World Tour, which had just come out for the Nintendo 64. So,
what a game!
Yeah, wrestling games peaked right there. I think.
No, WCW NWO Revenge, my man.
Yeah, for sure. Revenge was better.
All right. Is that also on the 64?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay, I'm fine with that. If you're going to try to pull some like PlayStation shit, no. N64 wrestling games, those were the jam.
Yeah. Revenge had a create a character.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Plus Raven was on the cover.
Yeah. Somebody pointed out when they changed the cover of the AEW game and now Sting is predominantly featured on it. And they said that this is like the 6th time that Sting has been on the cover of a video game. But the highest, even though the one WCW game that he wasn't on the cover of, which was NWO WCW Revenge, that has Raven on it, is the best-selling WCW video game of all time. And that's absolutely because of Raven.
Which is the game that Larry Zabisco wouldn't sign for Mr. Tim?
I think it was Revenge. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's in one of them. So I have a story to tell about WCW, not necessarily related to the show, but it's my attempt to relate to Adam.
Oh, all right.
in a way.
Boy.
All right. I appreciate it.
So you have Booker T versus Meng on this show, on the Nitro.
Okay.
And Booker T managed by Jacqueline.
Okay.
Right? Jacqueline, WWF, has the thing with Sable a few years later, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was a young man, they used to do a lot more stuff with the divas and would do like photo shoots and, you know, push the boundaries of what you can show.
Oh, trust me, I'm familiar.
Right. And when I was a young man, I remember staying at my dad's for a weekend, and he was asleep and I was on his computer, and I was like, I found like just like the WWE published photos of all the divas, and I was into Jacqueline, as I still am. I saw a picture of her recently, and I was like,
"Where's the story going?"
Hold on.
Shut up, Brett.
And I was like, my dad's asleep. I'm going to print out a picture of Jacqueline to have for my personal collection.
Yeah, in case you need it later. I understand.
Right. And so I did that without thinking that like printers in the 90s sounded like you were starting an engine. So the printer made all the noise, woke him up. He saw what I was printing, and I got in trouble. So there you go. It's my Jacqueline story.
Wow.
That's awesome. How much of the picture printed out? Did you at least get the picture, or was it like
he
halfway?
waited until it was done, but I didn't get to take it with me. It ended up in the garbage can.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. We won't talk about how many times I rented the pay-per-view with the bikini contest between Sable and her.
Wasn't there a UK pay-per-view match where maybe something got torn off?
That also
Yes.
the referee shirt
Sure
which was on
was.
someone's shoulders. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, I remember.
I mean,
that.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not burned in my brain.
How's your grease shelf doing, UJ?
It's good.
All right. Well, over on World Wrestling Entertainment from Fayetteville, North Carolina, we get the New Age Outlaws winning the tag titles for the first time.
No.
We get Double J pulling a power play and refusing to wrestle Crush, and with good cause, because his locker room wasn't big enough for the contract that he had. But this is the Raw where we do like the full DX burial of Brett, where they bring out the little person, the Brett mask. Anvil comes out, and they let Anvil join DX, only to turn on him at the end of the show. This is like peak Sean Hunter China DX, like this episode of Raw.
Yeah, because it's a lot of Slaughter stuff, too.
Doesn't this set up the Slaughter Triple H boot camp match at Generation X in your house?
It does, because the week prior, Triple H says that he's going to teach Slaughter's wife what it's like to stand at attention.
I'm going to
And
swing by your house and see your old lady. Oh!
And
Triple
so
Dice
Slaughter-
Clay there.
Yeah, Slaughter comes out as Commissioner Slaughter and then puts the hat on and becomes Sergeant Slaughter, calls him a maggot and whatever else, and then gets ready for the boot camp match. Yeah. So
As much as I loved DX with Rick Rude, I feel like once Bret Hart was gone, like how insufferable DX became now that they were unchecked. That's probably my favorite era of DX, and it's not at all going to be replayed on AEW TV right now.
they bury Rick Rude on this show too, because this is the week before is Rick on both shows.
Yeah.
So this show opens with Harvey Whippleman coming out as Rick Rude, and they beat him up and say like, "Oh, it wasn't too hard to fill that spot."
Yeah.
So they're burying everybody.
Love it.
And this is also a continuation of the build at In Your House Degeneration X of The Rock and Stone Cold for the Intercontinental title. And this is Pager 316. One of those great moments where, like, Rock has a pager. We might have young listeners who don't know what pagers are. And Rock sees on his pager the 316. He sells it. And Austin comes up from behind him and beats him up. And we'll talk about it next week. But I think next week is the one where the belt gets thrown in the river.
Oh shit! I feel like we could be, our timelines are messed up, but I feel like when we were doing This Day in History with the Monday Night Raws, wasn't it just like a week ago he was in the Nation, or did we fast forward a year?
No, he still is in the Nation.
Okay.
Yeah, The Rock is unofficially the leader of the Nation. They haven't kicked Farouk. Like, Farouk is technically still the leader of the Nation. It's just that The Rock is the one who's in the feud with Stone Cold.
I mean, you weren't kidding that when we get to around this point, the Attitude Era goes fast. A lot of shit happens like every single week. Memorable stuff.
Yeah, there's even a point in this show with the promo where Austin's backstage messing with the cameras and the microphones, that The Rock sends the Nation to find Austin and beat him up, and Farouk goes running. So like Rock is like, go get him, and Farouk goes, and that's when Austin sneaks up behind The Rock and gets him. So Rock definitely seems like the leader here. It's just not official.
Right. That doesn't happen for like another couple of months, I think. Like maybe after the Rumble.
Okay.
Because there's the episode of Raw, and again, we're getting way ahead of ourselves, where The Rock, for helping him, you know what? It's probably the night after Degeneration X in your house, so I'll save it for then, right? Okay. But there's where The Rock gives all the members of the Nation a gift for helping him at the pay-per-view, and everyone gets the same gift except for Farouk.
Okay.
Do you guys remember that one or no?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember what he gives them. I'll wait until you reveal it in a few weeks.
Right. A couple weeks. All right. So that's enough This Day in Wrestling History. I could have did this for another 17 hours. I got rid of like 2013 and 2019 Survivor Series because like they don't count, right? Who remembers what happened 3 years ago?
Yeah.
But hey, what's everyone been up to this week?
Nothing.
We didn't really do much.
Hey, Adam, I'll lead things here. You went to go to a little autograph signing, didn't you?
Yeah, you know what? It just so much stuff happened that we're all just waiting for our spot to talk here. But
that's right.
So on Saturday, I went to Pandora's Box Toys in New Jersey, and I went to see Mr. Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling. And I'll just say my experience with Pandora's Box Toys is limited to just going there to shop. And the only thing I knew about going to an autograph signing is what you guys, Brett and DJ and Mr. Tim, talked about going to see Bret Hart, Mr. Hitman. And I expected to have a much longer wait in line. And obviously Gargano ain't no Bret Hart. So I don't even think that I was thinking that. But I'll just say the signing was from 12 to 3. And I got there at 11. Just because it was fucking freezing out. So I was like, I don't want to stand in line too long. But when I got there at 11, there's maybe 10, 15 people in line. So it wasn't bad. So I just sat in my car for about a half an hour, jumped in the line at about 11:30-ish, 11:40. And it took about 15, 20 minutes after the signing started for me to get inside. Johnny was super nice to everybody. If you wanted to stand there and talk to him for a half an hour, he would have. Nobody from the staff or him was kind of shuffling people off. So there's people, that bring gifts. If you're one of those people, hey, let me buy something for this guy who, makes a lot more money than you do. But I don't understand that. But people were talking to him for a while. So I get up to my turn. And again, super nice meet and greet. He's like, "Hey, what's your name? How you doing? What can I sign for you? Do you want a picture?" Being very outgoing. So I said to him, "Hey, I have been rewatching or watching for the first time, in my case, a lot of your old Chikara Fist stuff." And I said to him, with Chucky T and with Icarus, and he's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, I hope it holds up." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm enjoying it. I'm getting a kick out of it. I'm just getting to the point where you guys aren't together anymore." And he's like, "Oh, I'm glad that people are still watching that." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm rewatching it because of a podcast that I listened to called At Odds."
That you listened to. That you listened to.
Yeah. So the reason why it'll make sense in a second. And he's like, okay. And I was like, yeah, it's Chikarison's podcast. And he says to me,
Oh, shit.
I have Chikarison blocked on Twitter. So I swear to God, I didn't start the conversation by asking him about this. He fucking remembered. So he says, I have him blocked on Twitter. So I said, oh, shit, I didn't know that. If you don't mind me asking, why do you have him blocked on Twitter? And he took a minute, kind of looked off into the distance, and he said, he's just kind of mean. And I don't need that. He's just mean. So I had to block him. I was like, okay. Yeah, I was like, I apologize. I was like, I don't hold it against me. I'm just a listener.
Jesus
wow.
So I got my mark.
Did you defend Jakarison's honor?
Not in the least bit.
You didn't have like it was me, Austin, the whole time moment, like rip off the rubber mask.
Nope. So I got my mark pick, and everything was cool about the signing. I stuck around, shopped, might have bought something else. More on that later in weekly purchases. But I had him sign a figure. I got my signed Major Bendy, the exclusive one to Pandora's Box, and I left. And like I said, as far as my experience, it was super cool. He was a super nice guy. Very, very, very tiny. Like you could pick him up and put him in your pocket. But I just thought it was cool that all I did was mention the Chikarison name, and it was like he was getting flashbacks of Nam.
Listen, that name carries a lot of weight.
Yeah, but yet another person that Sposto has heat with for some reason.
I mean, I've been told privately by more than one beloved person by this show that they've had to unfollow me, mute me, or block me because I'm too mean. And I'm just me, man. I gotta listen. I just say what I feel, and if you saw the DMs, you might want to take my number out of your phone. I don't know.
I'll say two things here. One, I've known Joe for over 20 years, and I would never describe him as mean. And two, the next time Gargano comes around, we have to get Joe in an Eric Bischoff as a pastor-esque old man makeup. And get Gargano to bury Joe to his old man face, and then he could rip off the prosthetics and reveal himself to the world.
Somehow you guys have to lead him into saying 3 minutes so I could do the whole video. Hey, Johnny, how much more time is left in this signing? Oh,
We just stay in line and just keep letting everybody go in front of us until there's only 3 minutes left. No, we're good. We're good. We're not ready to go in yet.
Yeah. I will just say before we move on, I really enjoyed the signing just because I'm like, I don't like buying signed figures online, but like for whatever reason, if I get a figure signed in person, like I value it more. I'm sure that makes sense. And I was looking at like Pandora's Box upcoming schedule, and the only person they really have is Malachi Black. And I was like, ooh, that Supreme would look really nice signed, But, and I tweeted this out, I do have huge regrets that I didn't go to the Hitman signing with you guys. I think, just knowing how much of a smooth process it was, I'm sure I would have had to wait in line a lot longer, but man, I wish I had gone to see Mr. Hitman.
When's that Malachi Black thing?
Sometime in December.
Let's talk, pal.
All right, cool.
make sure your laces are the right color on your shoes so he gets the message.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you know about that?
I have no idea.
What, toward the end of his World Wrestling Entertainment run, and they were building up, it was going to be a program with him and Big E. There was discussion in the promos that there was certain lighting that was going to be used and certain colored laces that were going to be in his boots that were going to be part of this big, long, epic storyline that explained why these colors were used. And I could imagine him pitching that to Vince, and Vince just being like, "God damn, pal, you're fired. I still don't want to. You're out. Take your colored laces and go."
I don't know. I like Aleister Black / Malachi Black lore. I'm a fan.
Nah.
Maybe more on that as we go in the show.
Oh, boy. So how about you boys? What have you guys been up to?
Well,
Brett, go ahead.
see.
Yeah, I'll let you lead.
Yeah. So this past Friday night, we got to go to AEW Rampage at the Prudential Center in beautiful Newark, New Jersey. Because we had the tickets anyway, but as I said to both of you boys while we were wolfing down chicken fingers in the arena, even if we didn't have tickets and the Jun Akiyama tag match got announced, I would have said, "Hey guys, you want to go?" So that was night one where, holy shit, we got to see Jun Akiyama. That's insane to me.
Yeah,
It's still pretty
a
crazy.
pretty big deal.
Now, I wasn't there, but you're bearing the best match on the show, which was on Dark. But I'll allow you guys to think that Jun Akiyama wrestling was the best thing when clearly Tay Conti versus Sky Blue was on that show. Pay some respect.
Adam, as soon as the match graphic popped up like on their Tron or whatever, I was like, oh God. I go, Adam somewhere just felt like he's getting a stinging pain in his neck for some reason.
In his neck.
Yes, neck.
Yeah. Well, at least
I have no recollection of that.
What was that?
I said I have no recollection of that match.
It happened. Plus, seeing Athena murder Aubrey Edwards was pretty sick.
Yeah, it was a really good time, though. We've been on a bit of a travel tear lately. Joe and I, supposed to be Brett, but life gets in the way, to a Dynamite in Philly like 2 months ago, whenever that was.
Yep, September 28th.
And then Rampage in AC, an LVAC in there that may or may not have gotten Michelle COVID, allegedly. And then a Raw, and now this. We've been doing a lot of wrestling traveling. But it's been really great, and AEW puts on a pretty good show, pretty good.
Yeah, because then to our, not I'd say surprise, but like we assumed it. Like, hey, you can't be bringing Akiyama over for one match. They do the little deal after the Rampage match, and it's official for the next night at Full Gear. Eddie Kingston versus Jun Akiyama 1-on-1. We're all freaking out when it's announced, and because we got to go to Full Gear the next night, Mr. DJ's first pay-per-view ever.
First pay-per-view ever. I want to say about that tag match. So I thought they did a really good job at this, and we weren't guaranteed a singles match, right? You kind of felt it was happening. Akiyama's in there on a Wednesday. He's getting taken to Cinnabon. He's all over the place. We were hoping, but didn't want to put any like weight into it just so we weren't disappointed, right? But they did a really great thing in this tag match. I love that tag match because like they don't quite let Eddie and Akiyama touch, right? Eddie's mean mugging them. They do like the pin breakups and like a little interaction here and there, but they worked it really well where it just happened to be that at every turn, Akiyama and Eddie weren't in the ring together until the very end when they were. I think that was really, really well done. And then sort of just teased until afterwards when Eddie got on the microphone and was like, I'm not MJF, but get out here, Tony Khan. I want this singles match. And then they announce it. Tony Khan comes out, very awkwardly announces that the match is happening. And then after Rampage ends, Eddie's on the microphone saying that Tony Khan doesn't let him talk after shows anymore because he curses too much, and then continues to curse for 20 minutes.
Obviously the weekend was great. The Friday and Saturday shows were fantastic to be there. We were until the end of Saturday night, we were in a pretty good section. And Brett can extrapolate on that if he wants to. But it was awesome to be there on the Friday to see Eddie do the show closing, like send everyone home happy thing that he was doing for a while last summer, right? Where he was the one that kind of sent everyone home. And then, of course, he kind of does a truncated version of it to wrap up 0 Hour on the pay-per-view. He beats Akiyama, which is just fucking crazy to think about, right?
Yeah.
And then just like the emotion that match had, I have no problem saying it. I said it publicly. I said it privately. I say it here. I cried 3 times during that match. Just tears of joy to seeing this happen. And then Eddie gets to cut the the hard sell to like close out that to get everyone to order the pay-per-view. And Eddie's such a convincing guy. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of fans that were there in attendance didn't pull up on their phone the Fight TV app and order the pay-per-view just because Eddie Kingston told them to.
Yeah, and I'll just say I watched it obviously at home, and I was watching it with a couple casuals who weren't necessarily Eddie Kingston fans, and like his promo before his match with June, where he pretty much was speechless. Like he couldn't get the words out of like how excited he was and how like fired up, and he just kind of seemed like he was on the verge of either crying or getting mad or whatever. Like that promo like shook a bunch of people in the room who had no investment with Eddie Kingston, and like that was amazing. And I have goosebumps thinking of that promo. And like you mentioned, him selling the pay-per-view before they went off the air and went to the main show, that went over huge with a bunch of people that just didn't know Eddie Kingston from a hole in the wall.
That match got me twice. It was after the match where they're both down in the ring, like doing the like bowing to each other on their knees, and Eddie's crying. That got me. And then when during the post-match promo where Eddie was like, you know, like Baba and Masawa and Ricky Doze, like I hope I did you proud. I was like, you son of a bitch, you! How dare you make me cry?
Yeah, I mean, so I just realized some people listen to At Odds may not know my history necessarily, but like I much like Eddie, I always sort of taken aback by this, but like All Japan in the 90s is my absolute favorite wrestling of all time. I think it's untouchable as far as in-ring professional wrestling. And Akiyama says the 5th pillar, you know, there's the 4 pillars. He's came on a little afterwards. He's the only one still active. You know, he's 53 years old. So just the opportunity to see this guy that I used to see tape trading, right, in the very late 90s, early 2000s, it was such a remarkable experience for me that like I was like near tears just the entire time. Just of him coming out, just the fact that like this guy who I idolized, who mixed it up with all of the best wrestlers of an era, some of the best wrestlers of all time. You know, I didn't get to see Kenta Kobashi when he was in Ring of Honor, you know, and so seeing this just had me that emotional the whole time. Mixing it with the fact that I know Eddie feels the same way, and I feel so connected to Eddie as a fan, because I've been following Eddie's career for just about all of it. I mean, I saw him the first time when he was with Blackjack Marciano in like the first or second Chikara show. So like having that connection crossover like that is so crazy to me and so surreal that like, you know, I'm as emotional and as happy as Eddie is because I understand he feels the same way I do about Jun Akiyama. So I can imagine if I was a wrestler standing across the ring from a man that I consider a wrestling hero, I can feel that. So the whole time, both nights in the singles match, you guys will say it when he got on the microphone after that tag match, I was on my feet with my arms in the air because I knew it was coming, and I was waiting for the official announcement that it was going to be a singles match. I screamed, cried, and then we got the singles match, and it was just the same thing all over again. It was so good. The match was great. You know, Eddie beating June is wild to me. It makes complete sense. But like that's a huge thing. And, you know, and when Eddie cries, I cry. I just, you know, I think like a lot of people do. And like Adam was just saying, Eddie has that ability because he's so real. It's not a character necessarily. It may amped up a little bit. But you know, it's not like I don't want to bury the kid, but like MJF, I think, is clearly playing a character on TV who's playing a character on TV. Eddie seems so much more real, so he makes that connection. So I just fall into that emotion and that sort of surreal wrestling world so much easier with him. You know, similar to, this is high praise, and I don't care what anybody says. I agree. I believe this with my whole heart. Eddie promos when he's like that are so similar to the Dusty Rhodes, my hand reaching out, touching your hand, that like I just can't help but get emotional about it.
Mm. I agree with everything you said. I'll make the joke, kind of expanding on what somebody else said online about how Eddie comes across as a real person because, you know, whether you know him or not, you've had brief interactions with him, you know that's who he really is, just kind of turned up a whole bunch. And you could feel that. Whether you've never met Eddie in your entire life or you've met him before at a signing or a fan interaction or whatever it is, you know that's him just turned up. Where MJF, you know, whatever your opinion of him is, there's an episode of 30 Rock where Jenna Maroney's character says that she should be up for an Emmy for constantly living her life theatrically. And that's kind of like how MJF is. He's always on, and you could tell that he's always on. And I wish I could find the episode. I'm going to have to do some digging. There was an early episode of the AIW podcast where MJF was on, and he was like himself. And it was really weird at the time, but I can't imagine what it would be like in 2022 to listen to an out-of-character MJF promo, you know, recorded interview years ago. Mm-hmm. And it just reeks as phony. Everything that he does comes across as someone pretending to be a wrestler. And listen, he's great. He connects with a group of fans that love that sort of thing. But the problem is it's so many fans that watch AEW and wrestling in general these days. There's a large percentage of them that only started watching wrestling 3 years ago when AEW became a thing. Or whenever the Cody and the Bucks got together doing stuff in New Japan and Ring of Honor. Or the Pipe Bomb promo. So there's huge sections of the wrestling audience that have only been watching professional wrestling for like the last 11 years. So there's decades of stuff that they've just never seen and they've never experienced. And even if you didn't experience it, like we were talking about that Starrcade show from before, and DJ was like, I was negative this, and Brett was, I was this, and I wasn't watching wrestling in 1983, but once I had the ability to rent that videotape from my local video store, I rented it, I taped it illegally, and I watched it all the time. I just wanted to consume old wrestling. And as I understand, MJF does too. He loves old wrestling. He consumes all of that stuff. He's a fan, but you don't get that from his character. You get from Eddie Kingston when he says what Jun Akiyama and the Pillars and All Japan and all this stuff mean to him. Whether you watch that stuff or not, you get it. You buy it, and you're right there with them.
Yep. And I don't know if you want to keep... Oh, go ahead.
No, all yours, Adam. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if as far as the MJF thing, I if you want to keep talking about Eddie, by all means. But when it comes to MJF, we mentioned on At Odds last week that regardless of what happens in that main event, and I think we all thought that MJF was going to win the title, the one thing that we were in agreement on is like, oh man, I hope it doesn't become a I fooled you, I was bad all along, you're stupid, you're a fat mark. And that's exactly what we got, especially if you watch the presser afterwards. It was like, oh man, any bit of development that we might have gotten in the MJF character over the last month was completely thrown out the window.
Yeah, I agree. Watching that clip from the presser, and we were kind of talking is this going to be MJF maybe having a tweener reign kind of, and let's see how they pull this off. And then you watch that promo and you go, it's just this. Okay.
Yeah, business as usual, but with Regal thrown in.
Yeah, maybe more on that later.
Yeah, I think there's merit to doing it like MJF does it in a way, not breaking character, staying in character at meet and greets and going on podcasts and doing all that sort of stuff. I just think I think he's trying to reflect the Harley Races of the world, and up through of maintaining that character and, don't drop your guard so you don't let people know that that's not you. I just think doing that in today's day and age with today's outlets and technology, I think he needs to adapt it better. I don't know how, but I think he needs to look more at taking the inspiration from the guys who wouldn't break character when you couldn't break character, and find a way to filter that or blend that with the way the internet and technology works now, because it does just end up coming off as not genuine, and I think that hurts him. As far as the Regal stuff, I mean, I think Regal works better as a snake anyway. I just, like to Adam's point, the ha, this was a trick the whole time is a little lame and easy, a little too easy with writing it down on a piece of paper to then put it on TV. Whatever.
And
go ahead, Adam.
I was going to say, I agree that Regal as a snake is definitely more fitting in with his character, but I will miss him basically flirting with Excalibur. Like, if that's coming to a stop, I feel like you're ruining television.
Agreed.
I'll agree there, yeah.
I was going to say, MJF, he will be forgiven if he puts out a $250,000 bounty on John Moxley's head and screams, "Somebody take the damn money."
Yes.
So anything else from the pay-per-view you guys want to talk about, discuss, or otherwise?
Yeah, I think two things that I think really, well, one thing that really surprised me, and one thing that shouldn't have been a surprise, but I was glad at the way it happened. I think the Jungle Boy Luchasaurus cage match overperformed. That match was really, really good, and I was not expecting it to be. We all know my history with Luchasaurus, where he fooled me into thinking he was good once and never again. And Jungle Boy is fine, talented athlete, young kid. We'll see where the future goes. This cage match was excellent. Jungle Boy hits a gusher. They thrown each other all over the place. Like, I really, really enjoyed this match, and I wasn't expecting to. This was might have been like the match I was dreading the most on the whole card, and it was really one of my favorite matches.
I think on the way there, I had said that this match should be like a 4-minute squash. Jungle Boy just comes in, flattens Luchasaurus, and kind of closes the chapter on this. And it ended up being a much longer match. But as the match went on, I'm just like, okay, I'm with it now. I'm back into it. And I thought it was a very strong performance, as you mentioned, for Jungle Boy. Hopefully this is the thing that moves him up, escalates him up the card or something,
Yeah. And the second thing is, I think, Adam, it'll be interesting to hear your opinion since you weren't there for it. You're watching it on TV or, legal means whatever.
It was legal, surprisingly.
Jamie Hayter, Tony Storm, best match on the show.
I think it was definitely a very enjoyable match. I would put it in my top 3. The Ring of Honor title match I really enjoyed, and I did enjoy, the Elites versus the Death Triangle. I think those were my top 3 favorite matches on the show. As far as Tony Storm versus Jamie Hayter, I am in the minority on this podcast. I am a card-carrying member of the Hayter Hive. Like, she's in my top 10, but, I was rooting for Tony Storm. So I felt a little disappointed that Tony Storm lost. So that might have poo-pooed my overall feeling of the match. But it's hard to be disappointed to see Hayter get the title. And, not to go too far ahead, obviously Britt Baker is being super supportive of the new champion. So you can kind of tell that turn might be happening soon. So maybe we'll get Jamie as a face sometime soon. But the match itself wasn't my favorite match, but I enjoyed it a lot. Again, top 3 match from the pay-per-view for me.
Hey Adam, do you hear that? Do you hear that buzz? Do you hear that?
Again, I'm not mad. It's just it's 1A and 1B, and 1B happened to win the title.
That's the Hayter Hive rising up, baby. We're here. We're here to stay. For real, that match, I think the 3 of us that were at the pay-per-view all thought that was amazing. And I'll give you this. With the Elite versus Death Triangle match, 2 out of the 6 combatants involved, I fucking hate. Watching it live, it's not my type of wrestling that I like. Being in a live crowd that bites on every little thing made it more like enjoyable, I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
It's
imagine
a much different experience.
the live atmosphere, especially with your typical non-Chicago AEW fans, probably eat up everything the Elite does. And I'm a flippy kicky guy, and the Bucks never said nothing bad about me, so I went into it, enjoying it a little bit more than the rest of us on the podcast. But I would probably say my favorite match of the night was the Ring of Honor title.
It was a good match up until the finish.
It's a hard thing. You jump over Claudio swinging somebody, spin around, and hit somebody with your elbow.
Hey,
you know what I would do?
If you can't do it.
Yeah, not do it.
It probably worked in rehearsals,
Uh-huh. Sure.
Just another AEW Jericho finish that you can't ever show again.
You know what? That shit happens, and I get it. It's a bad finish, but I'm not going to hold that finish against the other 99% of the match that was really good. And Jericho's been busting his ass the last couple months, so I'm not gonna throw him under the bus.
He definitely redeemed himself on Wednesday. How about that?
He sure did.
Brett, do you want to talk about your buddy from the pay-per-view, or before we move on? Do you want to get into that?
Yeah, real quick. One of our favorite Twitter follows, I feel, had a very similar live experience last night with people sitting behind him. If you know, you know. Yeah, dude. Like, I don't know if it's just me or I don't know, but it's like the crowd know-it-alls, and this is where I wish Virtual Pros was still a podcast and they had their shame tournament. Yeah, it's just like the dude was relentless all night, just to like people behind him. Like, I didn't say a word to the guy because I would have flipped out, but like you had 3 people that were sitting by us, like right behind us the night before. Like, they were awesome. They were like having so much fun at the Rampage show. During Full Gear, it's like this guy just took them out of even having fun, and I was like, oh my god, this sucks. So cherish good people that you sit by when you're at a wrestling show, because that's few and far between, I feel.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brett. I get triggered by that shit all the time. That happened to us at Monday Night Raw a couple times, And
yeah,
and
go
ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead.
No, finish.
I was just gonna say, Joe did a good job. He was like, I tuned him out. I was like, brother, I don't know how.
Yeah, I can't. I have the personality that I let shit get to me. I cannot, like, I'll be at a movie theater, and if somebody's like crumpling a bag of chips, it fucking pisses me off. I'm too high strung. But I will say, I completely forgot to mention this. I had a know-it-all in line at the Johnny Gargano thing, and I was gonna write some of them down, and I forgot to, but 2 of them stick out. The one of them, and I'm going to start with this, is this was just a guy who was near the front of the line, and he was just holding court with everybody in line, whether they wanted to hear it or not. Like, I don't know if he was just like, oh, I'm a wrestling expert and you're not, so I'm going to just tell you stuff. But first and foremost, he mentioned Liv Morgan, and that while other people find her attractive, he really doesn't, because she's not his type. That was yelled relatively loudly. But my favorite was, he said, I can't really get into the WWE because legitimate athletes like Logan Paul and I forget the kicker's name that was a commentary guy. I'm forgetting his Pat McAfee. Logan Paul and Pat McAfee, being legitimate athletes, would beat everybody 100 times out of 100. So because WWE doesn't allow them to shine that way, he just can't get into it. And I was like, oh, fucking, can this guy please go inside now? I'll stand out here and freeze. But, I hate people, dude.
But he was in line for a signing for a WWE superstar.
Yeah. But he was actively saying that one of the things that keeps him from getting into WWE is that they don't acknowledge legitimate athletes like Logan Paul.
I could only hope he said one of those things to Johnny Gargano.
Well, you know what? There was two lines. There was a VIP line. Like if you bought the Major Bendy, you were in the air quotes VIP line, which had like 300 people in it. And then there was the general admission line that had like 3 people in it. He was in the general admission, so he did have to wait until everybody else went in. But I would have liked to have seen that conversation.
It was unfortunate too because at the pay-per-view, for us to step back there, the people in front of us were amazing. They Rampage. They were because we all bought bundle tickets, so we had the same seats both nights. So the people in front of us were like, "See you tomorrow! Can't wait! It's gonna be so much fun!" And we're like, "Yeah, can't wait to see you tomorrow! It's gonna be awesome!" Like Brett said, the people behind us were having so much fun, and like the lady was explaining everything because the guy she was with, the 2 guys she was with, weren't up to necessarily to date with AEW, so she was
and she was like an awesome super fan.
Yeah, she was talking about Japanese wrestling and the difference in the rings and like all this stuff and being like super nice and explaining and trying to relate people in AEW to people they would know and like stuff like that. And then that second night, that guy just drained the energy out of everyone like there and behind him, he would say something and then the other people would like cheer at something happening on the show and he would pause. And when they were done cheering, he would go, "As I was saying."
Oh, and was he saying this to like somebody that he was with, or was he trying to like talk to the whole area?
I think he was all by himself.
I think he was by himself. It was all strangers.
I mean, at what point did you consider turning around and being like, "Dude, shut the fuck up"? Because that's what I was doing.
It was during the main event. It's Moxley and MJF, and this dude's just going on and on about CM Punk. I just wanted to be like, brother, we all get it. We know. Yeah. We know what happened. Like, shut up.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect segue, I'd say.
All right.
Because Adam mentioned how much he loved the Elite versus the Lucha Brothers or Death Triangle match from the pay-per-view. Adam, how much did you love the one from TV this week?
The match was fine, and I'll just say I do not like the idea of the best of 7. I enjoyed the match, but I feel like less is more. And when they were like, "Oh, hey, it's a best of 7 series over the next 6 shows," and I'm like, "Well, it's absolutely going 7 because that's what happens." So I was disappointed that they went to the best of 7. As far as the match itself on Dynamite, it wasn't as good as the pay-per-view match, but it had the outright spitting in the face of the Chicago crowd, which I really love because fucking Chicago AEW fans are insufferable, considering all of them are Pro Wrestling Tees employees. But I did not like the match as much, but I liked the mocking of Phil. And it's obviously a lot of people on Twitter are saying, well, is Phil really gone? They're really, really, really laying it in. And we haven't gotten an official announcement that he's suspended or released or anything like that. Is this leading to CM Punk coming back? I don't know. But I enjoyed the biting. I enjoyed the go to sleep. I enjoyed the Chicago crowd being pissed because fuck them, they're annoying. Overall, I give it the Adam seal of approval.
How about you guys?
Hey, Adam, you're wrong.
Oh, fuck you.
Coming off of This Day in History that has a little person Bret Hart come out when Bret was definitely gone from the company. I don't know that you can use that sort of, they brought him up on TV and they're making fun of him, he's going to be back kind of thing. My favorite part about it was that earlier in the day, Kenny Omega did an interview on Sports Illustrated where he said, get over it. It's just a group of guys who had a problem. We've taken care of it. Don't focus on it. I don't think the fans should focus on it. We should all move past and focus on the art we're trying to put on TV. Fast forward 6 hours later, and he's biting a guy on the arm and doing the go to sleep. So, maybe it's Chicago insufferable audience versus 3 insufferable dickwads in the ring. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe?
Sports Illustrated isn't canon. Like, just because you
Oh,
say it in a
Jesus
magazine,
Christ.
who fucking reads Sports Illustrated? You have
Right.
television, you have the internet. Come on.
It wasn't even Sports Illustrated. It was SportsIllustrated.com, so it was the internet.
There you go.
Well,
And I think that my feelings were summed up by this tweet from Max Power on Twitter, aka Max Power. The AEW 6-man titles are so important that the Elite worked in a bunch of comedy spots how they got beat up in real life by arguably the worst UFC fighter of all time and then lost the fake match too.
That's perfect.
they're all
To
gonna be laughing when the Elite wins those titles.
To Michelle's point, my wife Michelle, who was a guest on the show a couple weeks ago, our show, her favorite thing about all of this is that a man got bit by a guy with a dog's name, while the dog with a man's name did nothing. So,
Hey, Joe, what was your thoughts on the match and everything that these fun little boys did?
I used to like Kenny Omega.
Oh, come on.
Now, typically, whenever there's a Young Bucks match on, I usually use that to clip my toenails, clean my ears, watch Simpsons clips, important things. But I'm it's in Chicago. I have a feeling I should watch this, right? And because I have a VPN and I pay for Fight Plus through a foreign channel so I can get the commercial-free feed, I really got the full feel of this match. And again, I guess this was the right thing to do in front of this crowd. They were going to come out and be heels. Let's see what they do with this next week. But if you like the Bucks and Kenny, you probably like them more after this. If you didn't like the Bucks and Kenny, then you probably didn't like them more after this. And this isn't a situation of I'm back on Team Punk now. No, Punk had his year. He's a piece of shit. He's done too. It's a battle amongst unlikable people. So I don't like anyone. I'm can't more of this time of them fucking around on TV be given to something or someone productive? How awesome would it have been if there was an Eddie Kingston promo on instead of these guys fucking around, right? Or let's say Jungle Boy had a match where he won, right? Or we did literally anything else but these guys fucking around, right?
I agree with you with Eddie Kingston, but I would never want to see a Jungle Boy match over a Kenny Omega match. I think that's just a joke. I'm sorry.
So here,
I'm not
here's
doing
where
a bit here. Here's
where I fall with that, Adam. I love Kenny Omega. I think he's fucking phenomenal. I hate the Young Bucks with a passion. And when he gets around these two dweebs, I feel like it just bleeds off onto him and it makes me not like him. And that hurts my heart because I really do like Omega. And on that New Japan Stardom show from Sunday, the video played he's coming back to New Japan and he's on Wrestle Kingdom for the U.S. title against Will Ospreay. And I was like, holy shit, I can't wait. This is going to be great. And then watching that last night, I'm going, oh, man, why do you have to do this shit?
Yeah. No, I get it. And I'm first to admit, before I started this podcast and before AEW existed, I really liked the Young Bucks. And I'll say it into a microphone. I like the New Japan stuff. I like the Ring of Honor stuff. When we started doing this podcast, not only was I exposed to some behind the scenes stuff, but they also started becoming more unlikable on television. And just kind of things just kind of triggered me the wrong way. But with that being said, I can still enjoy a Young Bucks match and not have it be I don't like the way they act on the internet or the way they act in the locker room. I still enjoy the match. And, what they do in the ring, I can still enjoy it. And I'm in the minority on that, but whatever. It is what it is. And I don't hold it against Kenny Omega. Again, I would 100 times out of 100, I would rather watch a Kenny Omega match over Jungle Boy,
yeah, it's interesting. So you're saying that Joe is a bad influence on you the way the Young Bucks are a bad influence on Kenny.
Joe has exposed me to the dark side of the ring, if you will.
Kenny, for me, he's not a guy I love. I acknowledge how good he is in the ring. I acknowledge his great matches with Okada and other people. Who do I think's better? I think even Brett would agree that Okada's better. But Kenny's, and I like watching Kenny wrestle. He's never connected me with on a level where I'm like waiting to see him, like being like, oh, Kenny's on the show, I can't wait to watch it. And him, Ospreay, I'm not going to get into on this show. But I will say that Kenny physically in this match looked closest to Kenny of 2 or 3 years ago than we've seen in AEW. He physically, this suspension time off has done really well for him. I think he was moving quicker. He had a bit of his snap back and sort of looked healthier and more like the Kenny Omega that we were promised we were getting when AEW started, as opposed to because we've kind of only gotten like one-armed cupping all the time Kenny for the last 3 years because how hard he was working. So,
yeah, and Kenny Omega, don't get me wrong, he does not tell stories in the ring. You look at Eddie Kingston, or like a lot of other people, Christian or whatever. There's Moxley, even MJF. They'll tell a story in the ring. Kenny Omega doesn't tell a story. Kenny Omega just does high spots and does really good wrestling. But there's no story in there where you're like, man, I want to see him, overcome the odds and, get this win. Like, they're obviously painting a picture where the Elite is going to be behind in this best of 7. They're down 0-2. Who knows? They might be down 0-3 before the Elite does the comeback. None of that storytelling, as I use air quotes, is meaningful. So that is a kind of a detriment to Kenny Omega and the Bucks. You're just here for the wrestling, and that I think that's one of the things that Kenny Omega will never be, in my eyes, like a top guy, because you don't care about the character or the person. You just care about the match itself, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think it does.
All right.
And I would take a Kenny Omega match over a Jungle Boy match. Not that I'm burying Jungle Boy at all.
No, not at all.
Kenny's a proven commodity a little better. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Jungle Boy's very entertaining, but in maybe 5 years from now, that'll flip-flop. But right now, Christian's the best part of that entire Jungle Boy Luchasaurus storyline. I'm not paying to see Jungle Boy matches, even though the cage match was pretty good. But Kenny Omega, when he's wrestling, I'm going to watch that. I'm not going to look at my phone.
And I'll just say this, you mentioned Christian, whether it be in the Jungle Boy feud or otherwise, but Kenny's program that he had with Christian was the most invested I was in with Kenny as a character, and that was because Christian was doing a ton of the heavy lifting. You could split hairs and say, it was over the Impact title, who cares? But, it was at least a coherent storyline, and there was reasons for things to be happening,
Yeah, and when Omega and Christian had the TNA belt, it actually meant something.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, you could be like, oh, it's the Impact title, but it was presented as a legitimate title that good wrestlers go for and not Moose.
Yeah. So sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say, because I got one more thing that's not AEW to talk about.
Okay, I have 2 things about AEW to bring up still.
Yeah,
one of them being the main event. But the other thing, I'm going to say something that I think has never been said on this podcast. I'm going to even dare to say on the soon-to-be-named network as a whole. Never been uttered. Good on Jake Hager.
Oh!
He really pulled his own weight and hung in there with the comedy hat stuff against Orange Cassidy.
Who knew it would take a purple hat to get him over?
I didn't even really like the hat stuff until this. And it's granted, it's Orange Cassidy, but just the fact that he was able to keep up and didn't actively sabotage that match. I'm like, good job, Hager. Good for you, pal. I'm never going to say that again, but I was like, man, he's really being funny and holding his own. I really liked that match, and I thought Hager did a good job.
Yeah, I think it was a perfectly fine match. I agree. Hager, normally when he comes out, you're just like, all right, I'm fast forwarding if I have time to, or I'm stepping out, grabbing something to drink. Obviously with Orange Cassidy being in the match, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to watch this. And I wasn't disappointed. So I think that's the first Jake Hager match I actually watched from start to finish, other than maybe his Octagon match with Wardlow, because that was a car crash. He couldn't look away. But I agree. Like, I don't want to ever say that I look forward to anything Jake Hager related because he's a piece of shit. But like, you put a purple hat on him. Yeah, you put a purple hat on him. Like, all of a sudden, I'm like, all right, I'll pay attention at least.
Yeah. And the last thing,
I was going to say, I just want to throw in, call it a hunch. I don't have any information on this, but are you telling me a comedy match with spots worked around hats with tons of people on the outside, including Chuck Taylor and 3.0? I have a feeling I know who agented that match, who kind of put the structure of that match together. And I'm not taking anything away from Jake Hager, because it's one thing to be told what to do in a match, and it's another thing to do it in a way that it connects and makes sense. So I do give a little bit to Jake Hager to that. But whoever put the idea for that match together, it's probably a much better mind for the business than a lot of people probably give them credit for.
I agree. Joe, you want to talk about Double J at all? You good?
I was shocked to see Double J on TV again this week. I thought after he retired Sting this past Saturday at the pay-per-view, Sting's last match, we had people in the section that were right alongside. They were all chanting Double J, Double J. The whole section.
It's true. Very true.
Right. You just couldn't hear us because everybody else was chanting Sting. But if we somehow on TV get a Double J versus Billy Gunn singles match in 2022, or at the very least some sort of 6-man match where it's Billy and the Acclaimed against like Jay Lethal, Double J, and Satnam Singh, I'm here for it, man. I think it's fantastic.
Me too. I'm going to actually say this might be a bit of a shock to everyone here, but if you listen to We Need Wrestling last week and we sort of talked about this, I was a Sting guy. I wore my Sting shirt. Super excited to see Sting in person. We watched him jump off the balcony right near us. Seeing it live, I'm a little up on Double J. I really enjoyed that. I thought he did a really good job. I think, I had a lot of fun watching that match. So seeing him on TV and with the potential for him, Billy Gunn, I'm here for it too. I'm trending up on Double J more than I was a week ago.
You don't know how happy you've just made me.
So
thank you so much.
Hey, thank Double J. He did it. He put in the work.
Always does.
Double J rocks, man.
Right.
Does anybody have anything non-AEW for the rest of the week?
I do.
All right, because I have one thing non-AEW.
You go ahead. I'm going to save mine for last.
Yeah. So it was the New Japan Stardom. They had their first ever crossover show. It was a pay-per-view on New Japan World. The main event was for the crowning of the inaugural IWGP Women's Championship, which, if you follow the history of Japanese wrestling, that's a pretty big fucking deal that they're doing it. The main event was Mayu Iwatani. So she's if you were to have a Three Musketeers of Stardom, it'd be like her, Io Shirai, and her opponent in this match, which was Kairi Sane. This match was fucking killer. If you can go out of your way to watch it, you should go watch it. It was brutal, and they beat the shit out of each other. And it capped off a pretty cool 2 days for women's wrestling with the Hayter and Toni Storm match the night before. So it was pretty cool. I think DJ watched this too.
I did. This was the only thing that I watched. I thought it was great. Kairi Sane, you guys know her. She was the pirate lady in the WWE for a bit. This match was very good. Kairi does something that I wish, and I'm going to tie this back to Eddie Kingston. So Kairi does the spinning back fists, right? She crushes people with them. And Eddie does most of the time, but you can tell when Eddie's in the ring with somebody who doesn't want to eat an uncontrolled fist to the face. So he goes a little lower or doesn't snap it around as hard. Poor Mayu did not get that opportunity. Kairi Sane murdered her with the spinning back fists a minimum 6 times in this match. It was a really good match. It's super cool to see New Japan crossing over with Stardom. It's the first time, New Japan doesn't have women on their cards. And so this was a nice crossover event, and hopefully they can start to, they get some heat for people consider it maybe not modern or whatever. And not having women's matches featured on the card. And I think they're trying to test those waters. And I think it's a really good idea, especially with how hot Stardom is. They're easily the 1 and 2 company in Japan. So it's really cool to see them working together with something that was sort of unprecedented for the last 50 years of Japanese wrestling. So,
yeah. And I mean, obviously I watched the show as well, and I agree with everything you guys said, but I just don't want to throw anything else out there because obviously I can't say it any better than you guys did.
Right. I mean, we know that you're the
I appreciate that, Adam.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to steal your spotlight on that.
And I like to feel as though I have a pretty diverse list of people that I follow on social media. And I would say that there was a lot of discussion. I was seeing tons of discussion about this on the timeline. And if this is the thing that gets people involved in Japanese wrestling, if this is the thing that gets people involved in New Japan, if this is the thing that gets people involved in Stardom, with however that crossover touches you, I'm okay with how you come into being a fan of professional wrestling. Your path is not the same as mine or Brett's or DJ's or Adam's, but as long as we're all on the same road together and we're not annoying anyone else, welcome aboard.
Agreed.
Yeah. Agreed.
Did
Joe,
anybody? Oh, I'm sorry, I just throw it. Did anybody happen to watch the Teddy Hart documentary on the cock?
I did. I watched it the other night.
I did not get a chance to. I was going to assign it to Adam for homework. But go ahead.
No, I mean, I won't get too in depth on it, unless Brett wants to, but I did watch it. It's only 3 episodes, an hour apiece. And I'll admit that just about everything I know about Teddy Hart, I learned from Pod Van Dam. So there's a lot of stuff in here that I didn't know. And obviously, I saw Teddy Hart at the Orange Cassidy GCW WrestleMania weekend show, and I've never seen Teddy Hart in person or at an indie show other than that. So I didn't know a lot of the stuff, and man, is he a fucking psychopath and allegedly probably a killer, or at least an accomplice to a killer, and allegedly. It was a really good watch. I will say that the documentarian is also kind of sketchy because he might have enabled some stuff, I think, by just kind of being there. And I don't know. That's just my opinion. But I feel like it's a really easy, quick watch, and I recommend it if anybody hasn't watched it. Dangerous Breed on the cock.
Yeah, dude. The director is like an insufferable piece of shit, and like trying to make it kind of about him too, which like what a scumbag as well. Trigger warning: there is like one scene outside of a restaurant with some words that are used, and I was like, holy shit, why is nobody calling the cops right now?
Yeah. Like, there's obviously a very blatant pattern to Teddy Hart's behavior that is very easy to draw lines to, like, where exactly a certain missing person might be right now. Yeah, I mean, it's just the most obvious thing, and he constantly contradicts himself and outright lies on camera with stuff that's very easily provable. Man, he's a piece of shit. And it was a very enjoyable watch,
And he's booked for a Frank Goodman show in Florida in a couple months.
Oh, what a shocker.
That's going to be a very interesting thing to see how that all pans out,
I just wish, I wish this was on like Netflix or something like that, because I feel like if it was on Netflix, it could have gotten the Tiger King push, and it being on the cock, if you're not a wrestling fan, you're not going to see this. Like if it was on Netflix, casuals would have picked it up, and I feel like that would have hurt where it was released. It's hurting its exposure. Like I think a lot more people seeing this would have been helpful with him not getting booked or possibly, the missing person case having more exposure. I don't know.
This could have been shown on free TV and everyone in America was mandatorily forced to watch it. He would still get bookings on the indies. It doesn't matter.
I get it.
Yeah.
And they did a great job of what's the wrestling school, Team Dojo or whatever?
Team Vision Dojo, Jason Rance.
Oh, they did a great job putting over that.
They cover that too?
Yeah.
There's a talking head interview with Jason Rance, and it's the way that they framed it up, they're like, oh yeah, this guy, definitely a piece of shit. Here's the interview.
Yeah. And they're like, here's some footage of some custom wrestling matches that are featuring people in banana hammocks and certain manipulation of that area. And then Jason Rance would be like, oh, if you want to see this person against this person, just that's all it is. There's nothing sexual about it. And it was very a great burial of that. That's probably the only thing in the documentary that was all right, good on you, documentarian.
Wow.
But I definitely recommend it. Like I said, 3 1-hour or less episodes, maybe 50 minutes. Very quick watch.
Yeah,
Plus, there was the
go out of your way to watch it.
Yeah, and there was people paying Teddy Hart $2,000 a month to go to his wrestling school, the new Hart Dungeon or Hart Dungeon 2.0. And before you can get in the ring, you had to take care of his cats, because if you can't take care of his cats, he won't trust you in the ring. So people were paying him $2,000 a month for them to basically be young boys in Teddy Hart's house and clean up and bring him drinks and stuff like that. And the ring was just this fucking tiny little 5 foot by 5 foot thing in his backyard. It was hilarious.
Woof. I'll get around to it.
I know the guy was filming Teddy for 10 years.
Yeah. That's
they didn't have footage of him showing up unannounced to an independent promotion that may no longer be running. And the biggest person on the roster was tasked to sit in the locker room and just keep an eye on Teddy to make sure he didn't steal anything.
No, I was hoping that they'd have he showed up at this indie show and all the boys fucking kicked him out. Nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't have anybody jump in a picture with him either and then say, oh, I didn't know who it was afterwards.
Picture I have with Teddy Hart is from 2004. The statute of limitations is... Or whoever that is in that picture I posted the other day. Could be anyone.
Yeah.
He's not wearing a hat, so it's not me.
Oh, definitely not.
But so lastly, I just want to mention, we were talking before about, 97, The Rock and Stone Cold. We're talking about today, Kenny Omega and stuff like that. You're talking about people that are stars and superstars. And, how do you know someone's a big deal in professional wrestling when they're all over TV? And I don't mean one segment. I don't mean 2 segments. I don't mean 3 segments. I say 4 segments. Adam, I don't know if you watched SmackDown this past week.
I did not.
So you didn't see the multi-million-dollar megastar from Hagerstown, Maryland, LA Knight, and I did the point as well, dominate the show. He comes out. He runs down Bray Wyatt. He slaps Bray Wyatt in the face twice, gives him the 2-for-1 special. Then he's in another backstage segment. And then he's in another backstage segment where he goes over on Uncle Howdy. He's the biggest star in the world, LA Knight, as far as I'm concerned, of the 9 minutes I watched of SmackDown this week.
I still have SmackDown on my DVR, so I'll give that a shot. That does sound completely plausible that they built the show around him.
At least, like I said, I watched 9 minutes of SmackDown. It was all LA Knight stuff. So as far as I know, he's the biggest star in the world, right?
Now, let me ask you a question, Joe. When he beats Bray and just kind of squashes this whole new Bray Wyatt persona, and Bray has to go away and learn a new hold.
Send him back to control your narrative, sure.
Exactly. Is LA Knight going to be the guy that takes down Roman Reigns?
Ooh. I know it makes sense. for it to happen, but you know, you got guys like Sammy, you got guys like they're building up a match with Kevin Owens. I'm not going to say LA Knight's going to be the guy that beats Roman. I'm going to say LA Knight's going to be the guy that beats the guy that beats Roman. So when Cody beats Roman at WrestleMania this year, the next night on Raw is when LA Knight beats Cody.
Like maybe LA Knight gets the Money in the Bank or something like that, you know, and cashes in.
Yeah, dummy. Isn't that what he says? Is that his catchphrase?
Yep.
All right. So is there anything else anybody wants to talk about? It's been a huge show already. There's so much more.
We got so much to move on to. I just want to say this is such a big show that we didn't even talk about that Chris Jericho had a legitimate 5-star match on Wednesday night against Tomohiro Ishii. Just go watch it. I don't even want to talk about it. Legit 5 stars. Jericho's best match in a long, long time. But that's it.
Yeah, when I was watching, I think it was when they did the match announcement on the pay-per-view. It was when they first said that Ishii was wrestling Jericho. One of the guys in the room said that, you know what, that guy, they didn't say Ishii, but that guy, he looks like a pit bull. And I was like, you know what? It's good you happen to say that because he's the Stone Pitbull. Right. You know?
But, if you like nipple blood, I have the match for you.
Nipple blood.
I don't understand. Like Jericho has like such strong defined pecs. Like the fact that Ishii was able to slap the shit out of them until he drew blood. I've never seen somebody fucking bleed that much from the chest. That was crazy.
Chris Jericho's boobies love this business. That's all I have to say.
And listen, we give Jericho a hard time, man, but when it comes time to like put on a classic, man, he still's got it in him, you know?
He does, for sure.
And I fucking love the Lion Tamer into the Walls of Jericho into the Lion Tamer transition. Like, I don't know why, but I pop for that, you know?
Yeah.
It was really great.
I think on the Dooge has to add to the Dooge scale, like, obviously, like, if it takes place in the Tokyo Dome, it's automatic. You're starting at 7 stars. If the finish is a roll-up, that's plus 2 stars. But anytime Jericho does the OG Lion Tamer in a match, that's got to add at least like 1 or 2 stars on the match.
It's one of my favorite things in wrestling. When he does it for real, the way I remember, the way it's supposed to be done, and nothing makes me happier.
Yeah, I'll never forget, was it on when like Jericho showed up on one of the Tough Enoughs? And like he had already on TV transitioned to doing it just as a regular Boston Crab because he was already at the top of the card, and he's not going to fucking do that to The Rock or Stone Cold or Triple H or anything else like that. And like he puts the old school knee on the back of the head Lion Tamer on one of the Tough Enough kids, and I'm just like, oh, that's fantastic.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, we talked about this week that passed. We talked about almost 40 years ago. Let's talk about this weekend.
It's Sami Zayn's kicking down to the ring. It's Kofi Kingston doing his thing. Ruby
Soho
on the show.
Bryan Danielson.
No. Is it the big dog's yard? Let's find out. Does Joe know the card?
Again, it might be the fact that I'm about to hit my 5th beer, but that pops me every fucking time. So, guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but the WWE has a pay-per-view this weekend called Survivor Series. Joe, there are 5 announced matches for this pay-per-view. Do you know the card?
Luckily, I have 2 lifelines that can help me out here. There are
one lifeline. I have no idea.
Oh, okay. There are 2 War Games matches, correct?
Yes.
Okay. One of the War Games matches is the Bloodline, which is Roman, Jimmy, Jay, Solo, and Sammy.
Yep.
Against the Brawlin' Brutes, Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens.
That is correct.
And then there's the women's one, which the heel team is Bayley, Io, Nikki Storm, Rhea Ripley, and Dakota Kai.
Yeah, I don't know who Nikki Storm is, but Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross? All right. Sorry. And then the babyface side is Alexa Bliss,
Yeah.
Asuka, Bianca, a mystery person who we're going to find out who it is on Friday, and Mia Yim.
That is correct. You're 2 for 2.
Okay. So the mystery person's going to end up being Becky Lynch, right? We all agree
I thought
on
it was
that?
gonna be, I saw the meme online. I thought it was going to be CM Punk.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I know we have AJ versus Finn Balor in a singles match.
Yeah.
Did they officially announce LA Knight versus Bray Wyatt?
Oh, I wish, but no, they have not.
Okay, that's all I know for the show then.
Oh, all right. Ronda Rousey's being fed somebody, and you want to take a guess as far as who the person who hasn't been on TV in months is going to get fed to Ronda?
Okay, now that you say it, I know. DJ and Brett, do you want to even guess who Ronda could be taking on at Survivor Series?
I
it
know
Dana
the
Brooke?
answer. Oh,
I wish.
I wish. God damn it! I know the answer, but let's
All right.
let's let DJ guess.
I just did. Dana Brooke. I have no idea.
It's Shotzi.
Yeah, well, shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
That match is going to stink out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I could be wrong, but like Shotzi up until like maybe a week or two ago was just like nowhere to be found. And like all this is how they do it. This is their formula. They're like, hey, person we haven't seen on TV in 3 months. You get a week of looking strong, and then you get fed to Ronda Rousey.
Did they do like a multi-woman match on SmackDown like 2 weeks ago that was to determine the number one contender? And it was a bunch of people that just haven't been on TV and Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Right.
actively bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Seth defending the U.S. title against Bobby Lashley again?
You're close, and you are correct, but there's more.
There's is Austin Theory and Mustafa Ali in the match too?
It is a 3-way with Lashley and Austin Theory.
Okay, that's going to suck too.
Now, I will say, I will watch the War Games matches. I want to watch the Bloodline one because War Games is awesome, and that's probably why Regal left AEW just so he could show up and say it's War Games. But the women's one I'll check out, and maybe I'll stick around for AJ Styles, Finn Balor. I don't know. Anybody else any interest in anything you heard here? DJ, you want to jump back on the WWE train?
I really don't. But, if I hear from, one of you guys or Brett, I usually rely on Brett week to week to tell me what's good on stuff I don't watch. But I don't mind watching it. I'm just so not engaged in anything. I had a ton of fun going to Raw, but I couldn't tell you really why anything was going on. I still have my favorites there and people I like, but I have no interest in watching Ronda squash Shotzi. I did have interest in the discourse this week of how the 4 MMA horsewomen would have taken over the business if they ever were able to get on TV together. But yeah, no, if you guys tell me something's good, I'll watch. But and I do love a War Games, so you tell me War Games is good, I don't have a problem with that. But
yeah,
I'm going to be watching the War Game. I'll watch the War Games matches just because I want to see Io Shirai put a trash can over her head and jump off the top of the cage.
I do like Io.
Yeah. All right, everybody, we're meeting at DJ's for Survivor Series.
See you
Joe, Brett, any predictions for maybe the War Games matches? I get there's not any sexy title matches in this to kind of predict, but who's winning? Obviously, Joe, you said that Becky Lynch is the TBA on the women's team.
That's where I'd put my money.
Yeah. Think any kind of shot? You think Shotzi's going to pull up the upset?
Fuck no. I think the team of the Brutes, Owens, and Drew are going to beat the Bloodline. Because this is a way to put a little, chink in the armor of the Bloodline a little bit without Roman having to eat a pin. So I think that's where it's going to go. The women, I'm not sure. I hope it's Becky Lynch to be back, to be honest. The rest of the card, like you said, Finn and AJ, I'll probably check out because, I still like those guys. But Everything else, nah, I'm all set.
Yeah. You don't think Chelsea is going to be the mystery female person?
Poor Chelsea.
Yeah,
No,
listen, Adam.
when Lily comes to life and is a real life character on the show, that's Chelsea.
Oh God.
Listen, Adam, there was somebody at the Full Gear pay-per-view wearing a Chelsea 469 shirt, and Joe and I just were disgusted.
Oh, it's a nice shirt. I don't know what you're talking about. But all right. So obviously, there's no show homework this weekend because of Survivor Series.
Yes.
I will just say parenthetically that I will be signing up for Fight for the first time to watch AIW's Hell on Earth this weekend, tomorrow actually. So not homework, but if you're on the fence about signing up for Fight, I think this is a good show to go give it a shot.
Yeah, and I think like if you sign up this weekend, your $5 will get you like this and the next AIW show. And I think they do like a 7-day free trial as well if you want to kind of squeeze a little bit out of them. From there, I'm very interested in West versus Broski. Very interested in JB versus Eric Stevens.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yep. Obviously, I will be defending my AIW tag team titles against 9 to 5. So
Sure.
look for that. Masha Slamovich against Jocelyn Navarro. Looks like a fun card.
For sure. So, speaking of Artie, I'm sure he's going to plug the show. He called in. We got a bunch of calls because Brett and DJ are here. I don't screen the calls beforehand. Sometimes, like I said, the transcript comes up and I'll see a keyword or something, or somebody will say our names very quickly and it'll run together as like one word that doesn't make any sense. But let's get right into the voicemails.
Hello, Brett, DJ, Joe, and Adam. This is Kevin Ford. I want to wish all of you a very happy Thanksgiving, a wonderful weekend, and that all of your Coliseum Collection Terry Funks arrive to you in the most pristine condition possible. And speaking of Terry Funk, since we have such Terry Funk fans on the podcast this week, I wanted to ask each of you, what's your favorite Terry Funk insult? And please give it to me in your best Terry Funk impression. I would tell you mine, but I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. So once again, gentlemen, hope you all are doing well. Looking forward to hearing this week's show. Bye.
Can I just say first, I apologize. I am admittedly very new to the Terry Funk appreciation wagon. I apologize. I'm trying to do my best, and I study at the foot of the Dooge on this one. I do not have a Terry Funk insult, so I'm going to sit back, let you guys take this over.
Oh boy, who wants to go first?
DJ, I'm going to say you go last.
Okay, all right.
I got like 6, and if I'm stealing yours, I apologize.
If you say what I'm going to say, I'm just going to come up with another one.
Right.
You're good.
Right. But there's nothing better when Terry Funk specifically to Mick Foley calls him satchel ass.
So mine is also for him to Mick Foley, where it's your mother's a whore. Your kids are bastards.
You also called Dewey a whore. Dewey was a 6-year-old boy.
So neither of you guys stole mine. Where to begin? Listen, I always over-elaborate when it comes to Terry Funk. The way he manages to call Ric Flair a jackass is a very special use of that word. But my all-time favorite Terry Funk insult is from probably my all-time favorite Terry Funk promo, which is the against Jerry Lawler, true Florida cracker promo where I talked about this on Final Wrestling Place when I was on there with Mr. Tim. He pours motor oil over his head, a 5-pound bag of dirty dirt, and that's exactly what it is, over his head, and is in a shower, and he is just covered in goo. He drank some motor oil, and he did that so that he finally understands what it's like, Jerry Lawler, to be a true Florida cracker. So that's my favorite one. Or Ric Flair has a yellow stripe runs up his back. That's a good one too.
My honorable. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm preferential to Banana Nose Jackass specifically for
Right.
Banana Nose was going to be my honorable mention.
Well, and even I don't know if you guys noticed if you looked at your Coliseum things on the bottom of the box, it says egg sucking dog.
Right. I was gonna say because egg sucking dog was like kind of a catch-all, but like that was mostly specifically for Dusty, right?
It was, yes. Yeah, he had the T-shirt that he had made that said Dusty sucks eggs. But yeah, it just the word jackass out of Terry Funk's mouth is like so much more meaningful than anyone else's. It's really remarkable.
Yeah. Now, obviously not weekly purchases because we bought these last week, but how is everybody liking their Coliseum collection figures?
Loving it.
Beautiful.
Completely in love. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Completely in love.
Anyone listening want a Terry Hulk Hogan with the box and the other box? Hit me up. I'll cut you a deal.
I was going to say,
and if somebody takes Joe's, you could have mine.
I sold my extra, so I passed it on to a good brother. So we're good on that. So I just have my one, and the opportunity's over. But next caller.
Hi, Joe, Adam, Brett, and DJ. This is DeWicki. Just calling. I wanted to say happy Thanksgiving. I hope Joe is feeling well. I hope all of you are feeling well. But I really wanted to call because it's this the number I called to leave a question for Tim and Marcus. Because if so, I want to know why it took 3 weeks for Kevin Nash to be inducted into the Good Place Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Talk to you guys later.
Yeah, because they said, we don't want to lead off with the obvious. But I was like, if that's what the people want, you got to give them what they want.
Tim and Marcus have a hotline number, but I don't think they plug it enough.
Yeah, that was first ballot, Grand Slam, Slam Dunk Hall of Famer. Come on, boys.
But, happy Thanksgiving, obviously, to DeWicki and everybody else that calls.
Yeah, DeWicki, the spreadsheet keeper for our other podcast, Wings on Wings, really a true asset to the soon-to-be-named network, if I do say so myself.
Right, and he's been busy this month because he had the musical that he was in, and he still took time out of his busy schedule to do all of our nonsense.
Yep.
Yeah,
He
hasn't been leaving comments on longboxheroes.com though. Every Thursday/Friday, I go. Or Friday/Saturday, I go and check, and last couple of weeks there hasn't been anything. I get it, you're a big fucking star now. So I can leave a comment.
That's Adam saying that. If something needs to be sacrificed, then that's fine.
All right, next call.
Hello, Adam. Hello, Joe. Hello, other guests that are on the show today. The strongest man in all the land today. Just want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you got to stuff your face with some stuffing and turkey and all that hoopla, and hope it was a great holiday for you and your family. So in the tradition of Thanksgiving, there's obviously Survivor Series, which WWE doesn't really do like they used to, especially on Thanksgiving Day. So, I don't know, in the spirit of Hell on Earth, which is tomorrow, by the way, get your tickets if you haven't already, live stream us. It's going to be a hell of an event. You cannot miss it. Anyways, in the spirit of AIW tomorrow, in the spirit of Survivor Series, I want a 5-on-5 dream card for a Survivor Series match between Joe and Adam. Pick your 5 AIW guys on your team and go from there. Well, figure it out. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
See, when he said AIW at the end, I was like, all right, we got to get very specific here. Ooh.
1 second, Adam. You just think for 1 second. We're guests on this show. I understand people aren't going to learn our names, and that's fine. But I hope Artie never gets the sepia button back.
Oh, shit. Artie called out for not listening to the rest of the Soon-to-Be Network.
Ooh. I'm also going to make Adam's first draft pick for his AIW roster, and it's definitely Josh Prohibition.
That's fine. Apparently a lot of people, AIW fans, are huge fans of Josh Prohibition. I don't get it because he's just a dude, but whatever. So if I'm stuck with Josh Prohibition, And did he say it was a 5-person team?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so if I'm stuck with Prohibition, I'm taking Bishop, I'm taking Justice, I'm taking Broski,
Oh, God damn it.
and we'll throw in Dom. So that's my fucking team.
Are we supposed to like go back and forth and pick teams like 1 and 1 and 1 and 1?
No, it's not a draft. It's a first person to say.
All right.
I want the whole Hart family, and you can have all the knights.
Okay. So, all right. Well, listen, Dom is a big hit, right? But I'll take Kaplan.
Okay,
I'll
that's
take
good.
I'll take Artie. I'll take Chuck. I'll take Derek, and I'll take Ziggy.
Okay, and Broner could have been in there as well.
Sure.
Like I left you with a lot of people.
You don't even fucking take Artie, your goddamn twin.
Yeah, you didn't even draft yourself.
Like, I mean, I got stuck with fucking Josh Prohibition. Nobody wants to see Josh Prohibition wrestle.
I would have taken Josh Prohibition.
Oh, I'll trade you.
No.
You can have Josh Prohibition. I will take literally anybody from your team. The only entertaining thing about Josh Prohibition was his daughter wrestling. Like, that was literally it. Oh, thanks, Artie.
I said it on social media. I'll say it here. Please, Wes, jump Broski before the match. Dom on the shit list, put hot start and assign it to that match. Please spare us all from another fucking lame-ass, cookie-cutter, boring Broski heel promo. Please.
How dare you? How dare you, sir?
Next call.
Hey, fellas, this is Kyle with NEPA Wrestling. Wanted to shout out Happy Thanksgiving to Brett Dooge and Joe. Now, I would also like to say that going over, as it pertains to the Ian Riccaboni micro brawler, I do feel a little bit under attack from Mr. Adam. I merely was joking. I don't mind him getting the first one. I know how important collecting is to him. And I do not have any desire to be quote unquote stomped out at the holiday hangout. Though I swear I have been working out, so I would watch out. In all seriousness, love the show, guys. Really looking forward to listening to today's episode because a supersized show between two of my favorite podcasts and most of my favorite people is very exciting and endearing to me. So thanks and keep it up, and hope to see you all at the LVOC there in December. All right, peace.
All right, I'm going to obviously start this off. For those that don't know, I do collect the occasional micro brawler. And just for whatever reason, I was searching for something else on eBay, and I came across the fact that there is an Ian Riccaboni micro brawler. I had no idea that this existed. And these came out back when micro brawlers were sold in just a little baggie with the cardboard topper. So it's like one of the relatively older micro brawlers. So I tweeted out earlier today that I had no idea that this existed and I needed it. And then immediately Kyle hijacks the fucking post. He's like, I need it too. And somebody else was like, I have one. And Kyle's like, I'll take it. And I was like, no, you motherfucker. I claim dibs. So long story short, joke's on you, Kyle. I already made a deal for one. Kenny from the Mystery Men slid into those DMs and hooked me up with one cheap. Spoiler for weekly purchases. I have one. I have one already, you son of a bitch. I will stomp you out.
Damn, I must have missed the jingle for All Heat No Heaters. What the hell, Adam?
He dares try to stand in my way to get something? Doesn't he know I'm the fucking $100 Vansky?
Oh, my goodness.
Anyways, Kyle, again, all in good fun. I hope to see you at LVAC. Enjoy getting the second Ian Riccaboni figure that's on the market because the first one's gone. But other than that, I don't know what else he said. But
I think these were long gone as of March of this year because Ian was actually pushing them pretty hard on social media for a while. I know before the acquisition of Ring of Honor by AEW, they were still available on Ring of Honor's store. But when Ring of Honor got purchased by AEW and the Ring of Honor store got folded into the AEW store, I think stuff like that may have fallen by the wayside. And Ian is an honorable person, both the fact that he's the Ring of Honor commentator and he's a good human being. He's not the type of sleazebag to find 40 of them in his couch cushions tomorrow to make an extra buck, you know?
Yeah. I'll just say, like, when I found out about these things existing, there's 3 of them on eBay. The cheapest one is $57 or best offer. Mm-hmm. The seller sent me an offer of $50, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll make a counter offer. But, like, again, good on Kenny. He slid in, and he gave me, like, a fucking steal of a price, so thank you.
Kenny's a good dude.
Absolutely.
Next call.
Yeah, unlike Kyle.
Hi, Joe. Hi, Adam. Hi, DJ. Hi, Brett. Happy Thanksgiving. It's Tim. So, long story short, I recorded something on the super secret voicemail line, but I am not by my computer right now. I'm actually in bed enjoying a fantastic Thanksgiving evening playing Pokemon Scarlet. But I did want to call in. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say, and I'm pretty sure you might have already said it before, but I know this time of year, I'm thankful for my polka dots. I'm curious, what in wrestling over the last year are you most thankful for? I will take your answer on the podcast because obviously that's the best place to take it. Love you guys. Kiss your homies. Bye.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first because I'm thankful that I'm not Ricky Rude, which is what I said around my Thanksgiving table today when we do that tradition, and that was for like my little niece to teach her about being thankful, and I said that, and everyone looked at me, and I was like, "It's Roddy Piper from Sort of." Okay, sorry,
dude. It's so fucked up because I did the same thing.
Right, I'm thankful I'm not Ricky Rude. I am super thankful. Very recently, my initial thought was different, but I'm going to say I'm very thankful for all the wrestle hangs we've had over the last 2 months and further back, but the condensed last couple of months. It means a lot to me. I've known, Joe and Brett for a very long time. Joe, one of my oldest friends. Adam, it's been a few years, and it really means a lot to me to be able to do this stuff again. And Joe and I have a lot of history going to shows, and sort of, I've said it on our show, but one of the reasons why I have the taste in wrestling or the exposure to the wrestling that I do is because of him. And I'm super thankful that we got to do these trips and LVAC and, spend time at a diner afterwards and just have a really good time. It means the world to me. It really does.
Cool. Brett?
Yeah, man. I mean, definitely everything that DJ said. As Joe was to you, you kind of were to me, like taking me to all these shows and shit when I was just like a broke, like little scumbag. So yeah, man.
At least you're not broke anymore.
Yeah, man, like all this, it's been awesome. I'm very thankful for like a lot of the stuff I got to see live this year. Seeing that New Japan show in DC, seeing Shibata in person, which that was like a huge moment for me. Seeing Akiyama in person was a huge moment for me. And man, I don't know, like for as much like fucking lame shit is in wrestling, there's some good shit too, dude. Like, so I'll say I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah. In wrestling, obviously other advancements in women's wrestling gear, I'm thankful for that. But obviously to be real, like Brett mentioned, like just going to like an indie show with your buddies and like having a good time, LVAC, like I'm thankful for the fact that they have like just really fun shows, that you don't have to, know a ton about wrestling about to enjoy, and obviously I'm a dummy when it comes to wrestling, and, just the entire podcast, like as far as At Odds or, We Need Wrestling and Final Wrestling Place and Long Box Heroes, and just the network of people that listen and participate on those podcasts, like the fact that there's like people out there that are like, oh, I'm fans of like Adam. I was like, that blows my mind, and it doesn't make any sense. And like, I'm thankful for anybody that listens to this show and enjoys it, not like in spite of me, but because of me. But yeah, thank you to all those people that like support this show and all the shows in the network.
How great would it be if I was able to quote the entire 30 seconds of Ultimate Warrior, what he was thankful for from that promo? He could have saved us all a lot of times that I'm thankful for cocaine and then moved on. You know what? I'm thankful that, whatever, we talked before about how like there's people in this business that do not like me, that think I'm too mean. But I am thankful for the friendships that I've formed and still continue to form to this day in professional wrestling, whether it be people on this show, people on TV, people involved with the LVAC, people involved with AIW, people involved with Jerry's Internet Wrestling Emporium, in all walks of life. One of the two constants in my life for as long as I can remember, outside of, your family and whatever that is, but I've always had comic books in my life, but longer than comics has been wrestling. And the fact that something that I watched as a 5-year-old kid is still such a big part of my life today, and that I've been able to meet and know and everything else, so many different people because of it. I would not be the person I am today without professional wrestling. So I'm very thankful for it still being in my life, for the friends that I've made, Yeah.
And can I just say before you play the next thing, I do fully agree with Brett and DJ that if Marcus and Tim want to complain about not being on the the soon to be named network Boys Night Out, they just need to move up here. I mean, it's as easy as that.
I think it's a perfectly reasonable solution to that problem.
Yeah, I mean, the four of us aren't going to move down there to where the two of them are. Right. They can just come up here. It's easy.
I have a big yard. They can sleep in a tent outside.
That's true.
Jesus.
Thank you. Next call.
Hello, gentlemen. Kevin here. Happy Thanksgiving. Long time no see for all four of you. It was a great weekend last weekend. But, I'm sure you talked about that already. So time for a question. And because it's Thanksgiving and I was just around some family, I was thinking about, when Survivor Series used to be on Thanksgiving or when SmackDown was on Thursday. And, of course, my family's big sports, so football was on, multiple TVs this evening. So question for you guys, in your history of watching wrestling and being around family for Thanksgiving, do you have any funny stories of wrestling being on a TV during Thanksgiving and different family members who might not usually watch wrestling, questioning it or wondering what's going on, or maybe even being drawn into it? For years, anytime I turned on wrestling at my grandparents during Thanksgiving, my uncles would always ask me the height and weights of various wrestlers. How tall is this guy? How big is this guy? How much does he weigh? Is that guy really 7 feet tall? Things like that. And I still remember it to this day, and I would usually come prepared with that information. So hope all is well, guys. Can't wait to listen to the show. Bye.
So that's right. We all got a chance to see Kevin and Maddie Treats this weekend at the pay-per-view. I met Kevin years and years ago at a Chikara show in the Syracuse area, and we've kind of become friends ever since. This is my first time seeing him. It was really nice to get a chance to hang out with him and Matt a little bit. They actually came to your house, Adam, yes?
Yeah, they paid the $5 suggested donation. They got a toy. Sorry, I'm 5 deep. A tour of the toy room. And then we went out for lunch afterwards. And after we had lunch, I suggested that we go on a fig hunt. So we did not go to Walmart or Target or anything like that, but we went to Monstars Toys, which is the Dixon City, Scranton area toy store.
Not a sponsor.
Not at all a sponsor. Maddie Treats bought a bunch of things, and Kevin did not because he's a coward. So shame on him. He left empty-handed. But I will tell you a funny story real quick. And again, it was good seeing them. But Maddie Treats brought me a gift, and it was he was like, "Oh, I'm giving you a Matty Treats rookie card." And he hands me this card of him as like a little leaguer or something like that. And I'm like, "Oh, thank you." And then later on in the day, I'm going obviously to throw it out because I'm like, "What the fuck do I need this for?"
Wow.
And it turns out that it was like him as a bat boy for like a minor league baseball team, and it was like a minor league like official card. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I might wait a couple weeks before I throw this out." So thank you, Matt.
He gave me one as well, and I immediately sent it off to PSA to be graded.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
So that was the first time I ever met Matty, and I currently have his baseball card in my wallet.
Yep, I also have them.
Jesus Christ. But it was good to finally meet those guys, except for the educator, because he never beat anybody, and fuck him. So glad it was just the two people from the House Show podcast that I like. Next time, Hellions, bring some money if we're going to go toy hunting.
Oh, Jesus.
But as for family, like when you're watching wrestling, whether it be on Thanksgiving or otherwise, at most times when I was watching it, it was usually a remark of, "You're still watching this shit?" And the answer is always.
Yeah. I don't think, I got Survivor Series a lot, but I think I started buying the pay-per-view when it stopped being on Thanksgiving, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was never like the Thanksgiving tradition. All of the Thanksgiving Day Survivor Series I watched on like rental.
So I have a moment with my family, and it kind of ties into Thanksgiving. I believe it was a Thanksgiving episode of SmackDown. And so my one uncle lives in New York. My family's off doing their thing. I'm sitting in a room by myself watching SmackDown, of course. And The Rock is going along the spread of, the table on the outside. You have your turkey, yams, all this. Gets to his desserts, the apple pie, the cherry pie, the poontang pie. I think I'm 10 years old at the time, so I don't know what a poontang pie is, to which I walk into the living room and I ask my uncle and my grandmother, "Hey, what's poontang pie?"
Did they know?
My uncle just looked at me and goes, "Why the hell are you asking that question?" I was like, "I don't know. It's on wrestling." And he goes, "You need to stop watching wrestling."
I have one from today. I was watching wrestling today. And Michelle, again, mentioned her a few times, loathes wrestling. And I was watching, and Kurt Hennig was in the ring on my television. And Brett, I don't remember what year it was, but we showed Michelle a Royal Rumble, and Christian was in it.
I think it was Rumble. Yeah, I think it might have been Rumble 2000, I want to say.
And Christian was long-haired, like mesh shirt Christian. And every single blonde person that came out after Christian, Michelle asked if that was Christian. So she thinks every blonde person in wrestling, long blonde hair, is Christian. So Kurt Hennig is on my TV, and she walks through the room and goes, "Oh, is that Christian?" And it's not like a bit. She just thinks everybody's Christian. So that happened today. So every blonde wrestler's Christian in this house.
Bless Michelle's heart.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So next call.
Hello, Adam. Hello, Joe. Hello, DJ. And hello, Brett. This is Justin Summers from Wrestling Cheers. And wait a minute. Why do I sound like a porn? Let's fix that real quick.
All right, with not sounding like a porn anymore. Joe did not like my comments about Spider-Man this week on Wrestling Cheers. For those of you who don't listen, I'm not a fan. I downright do not like Spider-Man. I don't want to say hate, but as a superhero, I think he sucks, and I think he's a dork. So I now turn the table back to you guys. What are some of your comic book related hot takes or unpopular opinions? It doesn't have to be just comic books. Like, I'm not someone who reads comic books, but I take in a lot of the other media, TV shows, cartoons, movies. And my biggest one is the Spider-Man one. It's one of those things I won't necessarily defend. It's just, I will always say it's my taste. I don't care for him. Like, I will root against him in most movies. And like, no matter what, ever since I was little, I thought Spider-Man was just a giant dork. But hey, to each their own. I'm not going to, Ed from Pod Van Dammit and be all like how he is anti-Bret Hart. And be like, oh, he's boring, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't understand why people like him. I understand why people like Spider-Man. He's just not necessarily my favorite superhero. I don't think I own anything Spider-Man other than movies. But like no figures or Funko Pops or anything like that. Just not a fan. So, what about you guys? I'll also say my favorite superhero of all time, at least was for a long period, was Batman. I don't know, I might be changing that. There's stuff from when I was younger that I'm kind of growing out of, or just like I'm not as attached to them anymore. And like Batman's kind of one of those things, but it could just take the right thing to suck me back in. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say, and I will take my answer off the air later.
Wow, Summer's immediately getting the heat from Joe. Joe, I think you have to go first on this. He is attacking your boy.
I already tweeted at Summers about how wrong he was, but he's not like doing a bit like Ed. He just doesn't like Spider-Man. And I get if you don't like Spider-Man, like that's the most wrong take when it comes to comic books. I think Spider-Man is the most relatable superhero outside of the radioactive powers and stuff. The fact that he is a dork, I think, makes him a really cool character, and he has, at the very least, the second best rogues gallery in all of comic books, to be determined by a poll that's going on and a bracketing over on Longbox Heroes. But my comic book hot take is, and this might be weird, and I know DJ is more of a comic book guy, I think, than Brett or Adam. Take
sure.
that.
Oh, you're right.
You
You're definitely right.
Right. Superman is awesome, and people who say Superman sucks are wrong. Superman is really awesome. If you if you just say like, oh, he's a big Boy Scout. Oh, he has all the powers, so that's not cool. Superman's awesome. There's tons of great Superman stories out there. Even if your only exposure to Superman is, let's say, Superman the Animated Series, like that's awesome. Like that's really good stuff. And I can't imagine somebody watching Superman the Animated Series, like not even reading the comic books or watching the movies or anything else like that. You watch that, you come away as like, this guy sucks, then your barometer is completely fucked.
Yeah. I agree with you. Superman is awesome. Like what you know about Superman came from Superman movies, like I get it. Like that's not cool. Like Superman, like a dark and gritty Superman is not Superman. But Superman the Animated Series is pretty cool. The new CW show, like the Lois and Clark, whatever that's called, like that is, I think, like a really good portrayal of Superman. As far as Spider-Man goes, I do like Spider-Man. I'm not going to put him on the same pedestal that Joe's going to put him on. I would never say that I root against Spider-Man, but he's definitely like a really cool character. I will say that the thing that Spider-Man needs to lose points on is that like he has Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy fighting over him, and that's an unrealistic expectation to put on kids. But my hot take, obviously, is that the greatest Batman of all time is Mr. Jean-Paul Valley, a.k.a. Azrael, the man who took all of those Batman comics, Joe, and you will lie if you say to the contrary. He took those Batman books, plucked them out of obscurity in the Previews Top 100 30 years ago today, and he made those books relevant by basically showing that chump Bruce Wayne how to fucking get it done. Did Bruce Wayne take out Bane? No. Bruce Wayne got his fucking ass kicked. It wasn't until Azrael came in and fucking wiped the floor with Bane. So Azrael is the greatest Batman, quite possibly saved Batman from getting canceled back in 1995, whatever. I don't care.
I can't even address any of that. That's just nonsense.
I ain't dealing with that.
So I'll go before DJ because I'm sure he could have another 3 hours just on this topic alone. Spider-Man rocks, dude. You know why? Because I had a 20-minute conversation with my 5-year-old nephew today about how much he loves Spider-Man.
That's awesome.
So just for that sole reason, Spider-Man rules. Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm not like into comic books at all. I consume the Marvel content, the DC's content. I know what I'm talking about, but this is kind of a hot take. I feel like they just put out too much content, and I cannot keep up. I tried my hardest with all the shows. Movies I'm fine, but man, the shows, like, I don't know. Again, my own personal life, I just can't keep up with everything. I feel like I'm missing out on so much, and I just refuse to go back to watch it sometimes. And Adam, Azrael sucks, dude.
You shut up. You're too old for that, or too young for that. You weren't there, man. You weren't there in the trenches.
He's actively bad. Oh man, yeah, Brett's right. I could talk forever, but and I'm trying to think what would be my one, and I was like, there hasn't been a good movie Batman since Michael Keaton. Iron Man isn't nearly as cool as people think he is because Robert Downey Jr. is very cool. But I've settled on a thing that really bothers me in comics, and I get comics almost every week. I read a lot. I consume a lot of comic books in my life. Comic books should try harder to be aimed at younger audiences. Joe and I have been reading comic books for a very, very long time. And eventually we're going to stop collecting, whether it because we stop liking them or because we're dead. And there's going to need to be people filling our shoes, and you don't get that unless you're hooking younger fans. And a lot of content in mainstream comic books today, go pick a Spider-Man book off the shelf, go pick a Batman book off the shelf. They aren't necessarily aimed at kids and have a lot of adult themes that aren't relatable to kids, so it's harder to get into. Spider-Man is a good one because he has a lot of cartoons out there. But if you were to bring your 5-year-old nephew into a comic book shop, the selection of comics that he would be able to read at his age and enjoy would be very, very limited because so many comics these days have content that have adult themes, whether it be sex or death or whatever else, that are a little too above because they aim at us instead of a younger generation of people.
Yeah. I think, like, not to get too far down the weeds, like having more trade paperbacks that are like self-contained stories that you don't need to know, the last 20 years of continuity to know what's going on in the story, like something that a kid can pick up that's affordable, that's like, here's one Spider-Man story, here's one Batman story. Because like, even if you do go and grab an age-appropriate comic book, there's so much lore that you have to know to know what's going on in that book. And then the ones that are built for kids a lot of times are just, not worthy of continuing to read, if that makes sense. So I do agree with that.
Where there's stuff, like I can pick up and enjoy a book like Tiny Titans as an adult, and kids could also like it. It doesn't necessarily swing that other way all the time, and it bothers me from time to time because I think it's even not even kids as young as Brett's nephew, but even kids a little older getting in towards their teens. They're the content in your basic Batman book off the shelf might be a little too dark, for that audience to grow it anyway.
Yeah. But I will take offense to you saying that the last good Batman was Michael Keaton. The first two Nolan movies were pretty damn good. And hashtag the golden age of Azrael. So, next caller.
No, they would never put Azrael on the silver screen. They don't want to completely tank their franchises.
Yeah, they would, but it would have to be called Batman Presents Box Office Poison.
Old Azrael himself.
All right. So it's pink button time. Ed called, but Ed called
so
3
excited.
times. So here's Ed's first call.
Jesus.
Hey, Joe and Adam, it's Ed. Getting this call in, just in time. So there's a guy fixing my phone this all day today, and I just didn't want to do a phone call in front of him. I think it looked really, really weird. But hey, I have a question, and it's about Thanksgiving, and I need to know where you guys stand with this. You don't wake up and watch that stupid fucking parade, right?
No.
Because that's the lamest shit. That parade's super fucking lame. Really, really lame. I just need to hear that. This is how I'm going to start judging people now, is like whether you watch that dumb fucking parade or not. I can't. You guys are better than that, right? Please tell me so. Tell me that you're not going to wake up in the morning and put on fucking parade. Okay, bye.
Now, before you answer Ed's question, Ed saying, I called in the nick of time. He called in on Wednesday with that call, not realizing what day it was.
I just want to say, like, I said before, like, things I'm thankful for. I'm fucking thankful for Ed. Like, Ed's a national treasure, needs to be protected at all costs. I just want to say that. And no, of course I wouldn't watch that fucking parade. That's lame.
I think Asa might have been 2 or 3, and we put it on for him to watch to see what he thought of it, and he didn't care. So we're like, all right, kid doesn't care. Like, if you have a kid, you're going to want to watch it, maybe, because there might be some stuff in there for them. Yeah. But typically, and well, I'll wait till DJ and Brett are done. But no, I'm not a parade guy, Thanksgiving Day parade guy.
I was at the Macy's Thanksgiving parade once, and it was miserable. Listen, I was like 6, and it was miserable and raining, and I've hated it ever since.
Yeah, I watched wrestling all day. I'm not interested in a parade. We got caught in a parade before AEW when I was pissed off. I watched wrestling all day.
So I will say, I think the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade is for like housewives and weird like pop culture people, because there was a lot of people live tweeting the parade this morning, and I'm like, couldn't you be like live tweeting like literally anything else? But to each their own, you know. Everybody's entry to pop culture is different, you know.
Yeah. I mean, now that I'm retired and I can actually enjoy my Thanksgiving, I slept until like noon, and then I turned on football only to find out that the 12 o'clock game wasn't available to me because I have DirecTV. But that's what you do on Thanksgiving, is you watch football until it's time to eat, and then obviously do a podcast.
He mispronounced wrestling there, but I get you.
Wait, what?
All right.
I'm to quote Ed, I'm 7 out of 10 drunk, so leave me alone.
All right. Next call from Ed.
Hey, it's Ed again, and this question, second time. This question is just for Joe and DJ and Brett. If somebody tweeted you and made an incredible joke about having a micro penis, would you simply just like that tweet? Or would you say something back, a little joke back, or you just like it? Because I ain't gonna lie, Adam, but that was a really good joke. And I think you just liked it because Ian Riccaboni was also tagged in it, and you don't want to seem like you like jokes about micro penises in front of your new friend Ian Riccaboni. Bye.
All right,
I would like to reply to the tweet and quote tweet it.
So I don't know if I can find it like on such a spot, but basically it was again regarding the micro brawler thing. Ed tweeted something to the effect of, "Would you like my micro brawler?" Which I of course mean as my pee-pee, and I clicked like on it because I was eating dinner.
Right.
And then like a half hour later, I responded. I was like, "Well, fucking deliver on this promise." And he got big mad that like he fucking didn't get my response before he called in. So I'm sure the next voicemail that I see on the screen will be the response.
All right, I'll refrain from answering as we go to Ed's final call from the day.
Hey Adam, it's Ed. Yeah, just saw you got back that tweet, and thanks. I shouldn't have got so heated at you. That's on me. It's on me, big guy. All right. Sorry about that. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Goodbye.
Again, protect Ed at all costs. He's a fucking treasure. I love it.
I just think that I was eating dinner as well, and I didn't see it until like all my tweets loaded when I got in the car and everything.
Yeah.
Because I was like way past Chick Shinny, where they barely have phone service, let alone internet service. But I think I don't buy that Ed has a micro penis. Ed definitely walks around and carries himself as someone who has at least medium to large penis energy. And there's only one way to find out. Ed needs to post a picture of his dick on Co-Host or Hive or Bumble or whatever the fuck we've all moved to instead of Twitter. We're all still on Twitter, whatever.
Holy shit.
I think if you mark it not safe for work on Hive, you get away with it. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow. Well, thank you, Ed.
Yes, thank you everyone who called in. Thanks for participating and hanging in with us. You can help out the show, of course, by heading over to Jerry's Internet Wrestling Emporium, a.k.a. internetwrestling.tv. Use the promo code @odds. Does not get anything free up front, but it lets Jerry know you came to him from us. If you want to let him know that you came because of Brett and DJ, use the promo code Mortis. So I don't know if you could put both promo codes in there, then the money goes to both of us. I don't know how that works. I don't know how a lot of things work, right? You could also help us out by making a purchase through our TeePublic store. TeePublic's real fucky with their sales. Like, we don't get advance notice anymore. Like, right before we started recording, we're like, oh, there's a 24-hour sale going on for Black Friday, 40% off everything. And I'm like, oh, by the time the show comes out, the sale's going to be over. I don't know. Sign up for their mailing list, right? And you'll get notifications when we get notifications, and then go buy a shirt or something from them. And it's like $13, and we get like $4 in the back end when you buy a shirt. I forget how it all works out. Anyway, the real way that you can help us out, of course, is by making any and all of your purchases through our Amazon affiliate link. It's in the show notes to every single one of these episodes. It does not cost you anything extra, as Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and holiday season is upon us. But it does, I lost my train of thought, does not cost you anything extra, but they give us a little bit of a kickback. They call it an advertising fee. I call it the thing that makes Adam happy at the end of the month when he gets his cut of the fucking money.
Brett, take this one.
Yeah.
There we go.
Notable purchases through the Amazon click-through this past week include somebody purchased a Funko Pop Star Wars Mandalorian 4-pack, and they glow in the dark.
Oh.
Definitely sounds like someone who's not purging their Funko Pops.
Not at all. They're on the upswing.
And somebody also purchased the Home X round rolling sharpener stone for kitchen hunting and pocket knife.
That's more like a you purchase, Joe. Obviously, you didn't do it, but you're a man who carries around a knife at all times.
I do carry around multiple knives at all times. And I had to leave them at home when we went to AEW so that I did not have them confiscated from me.
But, thank you for those who use the click-through.
Yes, thank you to anyone who made a purchase this week, this month, this year. Every little bit helps.
Yes. Obviously, this is the part where I probably do plugs, but Brett and DJ, would you like to take this moment to plug your plethora of podcasts?
Sure. So we're on We Need Wrestling every week, Thursday nights, Friday mornings around this time, same as you guys, at We Need Wrestling on Twitter, Instagram, and Hive. Signed up there for the placeholder. I don't think I've posted anything. They don't have like a switch between accounts thing like Twitter does, so get on that, Hive. You can email the show at weneedwrestling@gmail.com. Questions, concerns, praise, whatever you want to give us there. And Brett and I also are two of the hosts of Wings on Wings, a podcast where we watch the 90s sitcom Wings and discuss the episode while eating chicken wings. That's at _Wings on Wings on Twitter. I don't think I made a Hive for that yet. At _Wings on Wings on Instagram, and you can email the show at wingsonwingspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to get on the Hive train, I saw Joe has a Hive. He hasn't fixed his fucking pictures yet. I'm sure he'll get to that.
It won't work for my phone.
There's a fix for that, and people told you and you didn't pay any attention.
And it didn't work. The fix they told me didn't work.
It worked for me.
That's you.
Yeah, Joe has a hive at Joe Sposto. I have a hive at the Man Adam Van. DJ has a hive at the Dooge. There's also at We Need Wrestling at the Man Adam Van. Brett, did you get a hive yet? I didn't see you.
I made a hive. I just didn't advertise it because I made it and I was like, I'll deal with this later. But I think it's at Brett X Edge, if I remember.
Is it? So it's the same as your Twitter?
Yeah, my Twitter has 570 at the end because somebody that tweeted like 16 years ago had the handle I wanted and I just can't get it, which sucks. But
tweet at Elon Musk to get it back. He's supposed to be deleting all those accounts that have been dormant, you know?
Ugh.
Yeah. So obviously, just like DJ just said, we haven't tweeted anything or I'm sorry, hived anything. What's the fucking verb of hive? Like, did
buzz? You haven't buzzed anything. Yeah.
We haven't buzzed anything. But if for some reason you wake up tomorrow and Twitter doesn't exist, go check us out at Hive. I will say regarding the username being available and not available, I did when I was signing up for ad odds on Hive. I debated trying to get just the @ sign and odds, so like ODDS. And then after like a half hour of debate, I just took @ odds wrestling. And then I didn't even think to look to see if odds was available, but it wasn't. But what I'm getting at, long story short, is I'm 9 out of 10 drunk right now. So listen to these podcasts: Long Box Heroes After Dark, Final Wrestling Place, Porch Talk, Viewer's Choice, WWE War, Wrestling Cheers, Indie Wrestling Guide, Pod Van Dam, The A Show, Wings on Wings, Between the Sheets, If You Catch My Grift, Hit My Music, and We Need Wrestling.
I'm happy you got it right this week. Thanks, pal.
No problem. I try.
All right, now it's time for Adam's favorite part of the show.
Some might cost a little. Some might cost a lot. But I'm the $100 Vansky. And your figures will be bought.
So, in honor of our guests, Brett, DJ, did you buy anything?
Yeah, I bought one single thing. I feel like this is the first purchase I made in the major group in a long time. Oh. And thankfully, I bought this before this certain person, put up their super cool, super valuable Black Friday sale. Which I bought this thing cheaper for than what his Black Friday sale is. But I bought a official Wrestling's Heel and Faces Dino Bravo mint on card.
Oh, okay. Is that something that you thought about getting back when the pre-orders happened like 5 years ago and just didn't, or did you change your mind since then?
I thought about it, but I didn't because I just don't know. But now I gave more thought about my rules for retro style figures, and if they fell in the years where you could have had a Hasbro, sure, I'm gonna buy it. So that's why I went and got this Dino Bravo. I think it was like 35 shipped or something like that. So, but other than that, no, because I didn't buy anything at the AEW pay-per-view because their lines were 3 million miles long. So that's it for me.
Wow. Can I ask you guys, did they have the foam scissors, or did you not get close enough to find out?
I think they were sold out pretty quick.
Yeah. They had a lot at the pay-per-view, but that line was so long that it just wasn't worth waiting. But
okay.
And they were $25, in case you were wondering.
Oh, I would have paid that.
So,
well, $25 for one or for a pair?
One.
For one.
Ooh, I'd still pay it. But that's crazy.
I also made a purchase in the Major Toy Boy group this week.
Yes, you did.
So it was pointed out to me earlier in the week, because I'm out of the Micro Brawler game, right? I'm done. No more Micro Brawlers for me. However, I guess the one that was in the Pro Wrestling crate was Double J, specifically Double J in like the 93, 94 WWF gear, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'll get this. And I start tooling around on eBay looking for it. And I asked a professional, and then I asked Adam what price I should pay. And he said, no, it'll come down to like $20 shortly. So I had a couple that I was just watching on eBay, and then somebody put it up in the group. $20 shipped. Adam tags me in the post. I reach out to the guy. He's like, $20 shipped. I'm like, boom, boom, boom. I'll send it along. He goes, hey, want me to throw in one of the bendies for $10 too? I go, no, I already got the bendies as well, but thank you very much. So I purchased the Double J bendy, and then literally as the money is leaving my PayPal, Adam decides to send to me. He's like, well, there's a Chase variant for the Double J Micro Brawler 2 that you should keep an eye on, right? And I'm like, you son of a bitch. Now I got to keep an eye on this thing. But he did tell me that right now, new, it's less than a week old, is skewing high now. That'll probably come down to $30 as the years go on. But again, it's Double J. I don't agree with Adam with that. I think I should buy it now because anything that Double J is involved with only goes up in value, right?
All right. So, again, congratulations on getting that Micro Brawler narcotic injected directly into your veins.
Yes.
I just want to just make sure, because maybe some people are in like a loud environment. They don't have their headphones in. Maybe they're in their car and there's like the heat or the air conditioning is blowing. So who exactly prevented you from overpaying for that Micro Brawler?
No, you didn't. So Adam did. I went to Adam and I asked him for advice, and I'm like,
what? You went to me and not Fig Daddy Cool?
Well, Fig Daddy Cool no sold me on me tagging him in the Terry Tuesday purchase.
Okay.
So not that he'll ever hear this,
Yeah.
So as far as he knows, I'm still a fan.
And then, if I may, who gave you the heads up that one was available at a really good price? Was that me or was that Fig Daddy Cool?
It was you. I said it was you.
Okay. Maybe I just misheard. I misheard because it seems to be that I was the one that facilitated this whole thing, and Fig Daddy Cool might actually just be a fraud. Is that possible?
Can't he be both Fig Daddy Cool and a fraud?
I will accept that. But no,
so I have a couple more purchases, but I know Adam has about 40. DJ, do you have any?
I do. The first one I purchased from Entertainment Earth, Toxic Crusader Ultimates Radioactive Red Rage Toxie 7-inch action figure. May or may not have been mentioned in the group.
Right.
May I stop you there? Was it Fig Daddy Cool that brought that to the attention of the group? or was that me? Because I'm confused.
I don't recall.
Oh.
But it was a cool price of $16.10 after taxes and free shipping. So I love the Toxic Crusaders. I wasn't going to pay a lot of money for these. This is perfect for me. So that's awesome. And the other thing, dare I say, I pulled a Vansky, and while we were talking, I made a purchase.
Whoa.
I purchased a 1982 PWE Wrestling All-Stars Terry Funk rookie card.
Holy shit.
Nice.
Hey, we have the group chat between the four of us. Can you put that in the group chat so I can take a look at that?
Sure. It's not in the best condition. I sadly, weeks ago, I'm not a card guy, passed up on a bunch of really nice ones that weren't graded, and now they're just all graded and like skyrocketing in price. So I just picked this one up just to have it. It's Terry Funk. That's my guy. I don't know that I'll ever send it off to get graded. It's raw. It's got some you could see some flaws. But I'm perfectly happy with paying $20 for it, like I did. I've been looking at it for a while. I'm not interested in any other Terry Funk cards, but his rookie card felt important, so I picked that up. So, yeah, but yeah, I'll send it over.
Yeah, send it over. I want to see that because I saw in the group somebody posted, like, obviously I know it's not his rookie card, but somebody posted like a Japanese BBM card from like 94, 95. Okay. And I was like, oh, that looks fucking cool. But I was like, there's no way this is like the earliest Terry Funk, because I knew there had to be something fucking crazy from the 80s.
He has a really old one that came with the Popey Poppy action figure, which is expensive and rare. And then there's a lot of Japanese cards that were like cut out of magazines of his. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure this is considered his rookie card from 82.
No, that's awesome. Like I've never seen that before. So send that over. I'll check that out.
Sure thing.
So normally, like during Black Friday, working in importing and exporting, I'm way too busy to just spend like hours on Twitter and like looking for deals. Now that I'm retired, that's not the problem. So I bought a lot. I bought a lot of stuff. So obviously we're in the year of financial irresponsibility. And I'll go quick on some of the lower ones, but I bought the video game Portal 2 on Steam. I was talking to some folks on the internet about playing it. It was $15 normally. Steam had it on sale for $1 today, so I had to pick that up. I had it on the Xbox 360. I need it on a computer so I can download some of the mods and fan expansions, yada yada. But $15 down to $1, I'll buy that any day. The first wrestling related thing I got, Pro Wrestling Tees, speaking of micro brawlers, put the Bryan Danielson micro brawler up for pre-order, and it was one of those things where it was like a 2-week pre-order, but if you waited until Wednesday or whatever, you got it for 25% off. So I ordered that. Fingers crossed for a chase. And also I mentioned before that while I was at Pandora's Box, I made a purchase, and I'm putting this in actually in the group chat. But for those who listen to the pod, I've been buying a lot. I've been buying a lot of carrying cases lately, both at Toy Hio and at RetroCon. But I purchased from 1991 a WCW carrying case that has Ric Flair, Lex Luger, and Sting on the cover of it. So that was something that I actually have had on my eBay watch list for a while. They had one at Pandora's, and it was priced the same as the eBay one. But again, because I'm not Fig Daddy cool, I know how to effectively spend my money. So I went up and I asked for a little bit of a deal ski, and I got it. So happy to add that to my collector's case collection.
Very nice.
Ooh, I like in the collector's case that there's they use the same picture of Lex twice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm noticing that because they have on the front and the back, they have the action shot on the rear, and Lex couldn't be bothered to show up to 2 photo shoots.
He's like, yeah, I'm at one under protest.
Dude, this Terry Funk card rules. Holy shit.
Yeah, buddy.
Dude,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
This set is like the set that has like the Hogan and all those cards that blew up during the pandemic,
Yeah. Online, if you look, there's some Japanese cards that they claim are older, but like they're, hit or miss. But this is his, at very least, American rookie card, if not overall rookie card. He has a WWF card in like 85. He gets one, but this is, to me, this is the one. Hopefully we don't have a first appearance of Spawn situation here, but I'm just happy to have it.
Yeah, these 82 cards, these Wrestling All-Stars, they are 100% the first U.S. commercially available cards for wrestling. So I do not count cutouts from magazines or any of that shit. So, yeah, this is like an awesome card to have. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep. So have any of you guys made a purchase from deepdiscount.com?
It's been years.
It's been a long time, but yeah.
So I saw like Preternia. We all follow Preternia. They made a suggestion. They're like, hey, Deep Discount has these deals on figures today. And it was a bunch of stuff I wasn't interested in, except for one thing. So DC McFarlane Multiverse figures, you're familiar, usually retail $20-25 a piece. So they had, and I'm going to put it in the group real quick, a box set of the Suicide Squad. And it is King Shark, Harley Quinn, Bloodsport, Polka Dot Man, and Peacemaker. And this was like a giant box set. Like this box set, I've seen it in person at Monstars. It's bigger than like the new gen ring box. So this is a box set that normally goes for like $130 to $140. And Deep Discount had it on sale today. And then there was like a promo code to get it even further on sale. It was $20.
Oof.
And so I'm like,
That's
okay, $20.
deal.
Yeah, $20. They're going to fuck me on shipping though, because this thing is giant, right? $2 shipping.
Whoa.
So I was like, all right, I already have that Peacemaker fig like as a standalone, but I will buy that box set for $20 all day. I debated buying multiples for an opportunity, but I was like, nah, we'll just grab one.
So obviously you just got it today, or you just did it today, so you don't know, like you didn't get a shipping confirmation or nothing on it yet?
No, not yet. So like I've never done business with Deep Discount. Who knows if they'll actually send it or what the condition will be, but I did it with PayPal, so worst case scenario, you do what you got to do with PayPal. But you know what? If they follow through, $20 for a $130 box set, I'll take that all day. Did anybody take advantage of the Ringside Thanksgiving sale?
No.
Nope.
I did not.
See, DJ, I know you were close.
I was. I put a cart together, and I do need some stands and stuff. But I've learned from Ringside is that that list is going to drop dramatically in price over the next week or two. They're going to continue to take $1 or $2 off of some of the items, so I'm going to wait till then.
Fair enough. See, my new rule when it comes to Ringside is I will not pay a cent over retail on any of these figures. Like, how like when Chainsaw Charlie went up for pre-order, it was like $30 or $32. I'm like, all right, there's no reason to rush on any of this stuff. So it's like, if I have to get a figure a month after all the other guys in the network, so be it. So once Ringside put a lot of figures that I've had on my watch list on sale to the point where they dropped down to retail or below, I was like, all right, now is the time to jump on this. So I did actually finally order another Elite 97 Chainsaw Charlie. If you were listening to the pod, you know that I ordered one from Amazon. I canceled the Amazon one and ordered one from Ringside because it was actually cheaper than the Amazon's price. I ordered one of those Mania 39 Elite Macho Kings, which was in the line that had the NWO Hogan, the Dusty, the Rock.
Oh, yeah, the Mania 6 and Mania 17 guys. Yeah.
Yep, but the line is called Mania 39 for whatever reason.
That's a good line.
Yeah, dude, I love all those figures. I mean, the Rock is just plain. It's like the Rock, but the NWO Hogan's cool, the Dusty's cool. But I just grabbed the Macho King because I don't have a Macho King figure and I need one,
Sure.
And then AEW figures. I bought an Unrivaled 11 Adam Cole baby and an Unmatched 5 Bryan Danielson. So fingers crossed. Maybe I'll get a chase on the Danielson.
I have some other purchases, just lame purchases. I had to buy a new wired keyboard for my computer. I'm a very heavy-handed typer, and some of the letters and numbers were starting to wear off on my keyboard. So I had to buy a new one. And one of the problems that I had before a couple months ago when I had to buy a new mouse because it wasn't registering right on some of the clicking is that they make the corded stuff like way shorter than my old corded stuff. So it's a bummer, but that's what it is. And it's been like a new year. Every year I always like to buy like a new thing of pens that I use because like I do a lot of writing. Like everything I do, I handwrite all my notes, and I write stuff for Super Secret Science Job. And I'm also a notorious pen chewer as well. So sometimes the pens run out of ink and then are chewed beyond recognition at the same time. So I ordered a thing of pens as well. The keyboard came the next day. The pens just keep getting moved back.
That's cool. Brett, DJ, anything else?
Really quick, the Asylum Wrestling Store, their figure line went up 10 minutes ago. You can get the Road Warrior set for $48 plus shipping.
Now,
and the same thing for the
normally?
Huh?
What's that normally?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, like I didn't know if it was like a crazy sale.
No, they're brand new. It's just they're like, I don't know. They sort of look like knockoffs of that newer Superstars line. Okay. But they're 25 single if you buy them individually, and if you buy the tag teams, they're $47.99. It's a little steep there, but
so not pulling trigger.
Not pulling the trigger.
No.
Nope. But yeah.
I didn't buy anything else. That was all I had this week. I got a bunch of stuff in the mail, like the Terry 2-pack, but that was all my purchases.
Okay. Well, luckily, boys, I got a couple more. Obviously, I mentioned earlier with it being Thanksgiving that I am thankful for all of our listeners, all the people we interact with. I'm thankful for Ed Cody, for being Ed Cody. But it would not be Thanksgiving if I did not give thanks for the Deathmatch King. And
oh, God damn it, Adam.
And Broski put up a Thanksgiving sale, and I bought a signed copy of the PWI 500 that he was ranked number 13 in the world, and it was only like $13. Like magazines, aren't they like $10 cover price normally? So it's only like $3 more for the signature. I think that's a steal at any time.
I can't wait until they do an episode of Catch My Grift on Broski.
And I would look forward to it because Catch My Grift, if you Catch My Grift, is a very good podcast. But
it's Alex Jones and then Broski.
I thought you were going to say that he put up another one-of-one purple jacket that you bought.
Oh, don't even get me started. I have the earlier purple leather jacket. That's all that matters. But all right, so real quick, I will just say one more time, thank you to Kenny for hooking me up with the Ian Riccaboni micro brawler. That would have been like the highlight of any week's weekly purchases. But I mentioned it earlier in the show, so suck it, Kyle. But I purchased a couple things. Well, one thing in the major group, and I'm going to put it in the group chat in just a second. But this was a card that was in the Wednesday night card sale. And you guys should all be getting it right now. And what you'll see is it's a 2014 Topps Road to WrestleMania card
pervert.
Featuring Triple H. All right. It's a 2014 Triple H card.
Mm-hmm.
But
I know.
Mm-hmm.
It is also the first card or WWE merch featuring young upstarts Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte Flair. So some might say it's a rookie card, some might say it's not. It was cheap. I've done business with John Tancredi before. I DM'd him. I made out a little deal ski. It's graded a 9. It can go on the grease shelf.
Oh, Adam.
What? I am a professional collector, and I leave no stone unturned.
I'm not worried about the stones you're unturning, if you know what I mean.
What's the true crime podcast they're going to do eventually on Adam's Alexa Bliss collection?
All right. Yeah. I have one last purchase. So this is something, I don't have a picture, but you can use your imagination. This is something that I've been on the fence about buying for a while. You know, I'm a bit of a completist. I'm a bit of an obsessive collector. I saw that Mr. Brian Myers was going to be selling one of these on Whatnot this week. So I loaded up the Whatnot stream for the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, and I had it on in the background, and I wasn't really paying attention. But I happened to look over just as this item was going to had like 4 seconds left, and I made like a panic bid. I didn't really pay attention to the price, and I should have.
Oh boy!
But no. Luckily, it was like a really good price. And I purchased from the collection of Brian Myers, who's in the middle of doing an AEW Chase Purge. I purchased the French version of the Chase of Mr. Brody Lee.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
So it's the one that instead of saying like 1 of 3,000, it says like 1 de 3,000. And otherwise it's the same figure, but I believe on the back of the carding, when it describes like the match listing or whatever, it's in like English and in French.
Okay.
So I obviously already have the Brody Chase I got like a while ago. This was just another version. And I was like, you know what? I wanted it. It was a good price, which is actually like really surprising for like the major whatnot, because usually people like blow up the prices just so they can say they got shit from the podcast. But this like went cheaper than they were going on eBay. So I was like, fuck it. We're in the year of financial irresponsibility. I'm grabbing it. That's my last.
All right.
That's my last purchase.
Well, DJ, Brett, thank you guys for being on with us. Thanks for staying up late. Thanks to listeners of both shows. I feel as though you got your money's worth, which is free because this is a free podcast. Anything you guys want to plug or give a shout out to or anything else like that?
I'm good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys. This is cool to put it to tape, which is just our normal conversation. So, thanks so much, guys.
No, it was great having you guys, and thank you for not poo-pooing my idea of having like a big super show. And I think this was a great 6-7 hours that we've been on the podcast together today.
Very snackable sized content.
Oh, I know. Well, like, honestly, it's like At Odds does like 2.5 hours. You guys do 2 hours. And, anybody who would wake up tomorrow and have to listen to both of them, they're able to do the 2 of them in one shot. So that's cool.
Absolutely. It's shorter than the combined. So that works
absolutely.
out.
All right. Well, for these guys, for DJ and Brett from We Need Wrestling, for Adam, for myself, this was episode 217 of both of our shows. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Be safe out there and enjoy some wrestling.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.